Hey, you're live. Don't
Hello.
see. Hopefully, I have a microphone.
Hello.
Hey, buddy, you're live right now. Don't say the N word.
Okay.
Negligence. There you go.
Naggers.
Yeah. Oh, you almost said it. You almost said it. That's a
Yeah.
good one.
I hope YouTube doesn't think that I said something else.
Yeah. You just gotta hope that's the YouTube kill bots will come to your house. Otherwise.
Yeah, I would feel really bad if I got your channel taken down
Oh,
by
Jesus
accident.
Christ. Okay, so actually people have joined the stream. So what I'm gonna do, guys, is I'm gonna look at the chat through my phone. So if anybody wants to ask me something, I will be able to see it on my phone. I guess it's gonna run the fuck out of my battery.
How do you
but
get
oh
your
well.
voice to be so sexy?
Well, actually, I'll give you a secret. I get really close, so it sounds like I'm right in your ear. Yeah, you like that, don't you? It's like I'm right next to you.
By the way, how's my audio sounding right now?
You sound pretty good. What I'm actually going to check for is if OBS is picking you up. So, go ahead and say something.
Ball sack.
There you go. There you are. Yep, it hears you. So, okay. So, hopefully you can hear Skullboy just fine. Skullboy. Skullman, more like it, yeah. I'm not sexist or anything, please. Okay. So, you picked, do you like the title I made for the stream, by the way? Can you see it on my channel?
I can't currently see the stream right now, but I'll take a look at it in a minute.
You know, I'm trying to pull it up on my phone. I don't know if, YouTube treats live. Oh, wait, no, there it is. There's my thing. So I'm gonna mute my stream so I can actually read the chat. Hi, Gus. Hi, Otakun. Yeah, these are my regular guys. They're very good. They're always here first. FBI, open up. No! No, not again. Please, no. Not again. Okay, so I'm gonna keep that going. And I'm actually gonna start playing. So, what we actually wanted to start, what we actually wanted to talk about today was, did you guys hear that there's going to be a remaster of The Last of Us?
More specifically, a remake, actually.
The remake of this everything?
Although there is sort of a gray area forming with video games on what is a remake or what is a remaster.
Yeah. I hear, you know, admittedly, I haven't heard too much about this. The only news that I really have over it is that, The Last of Us 2 was a piece of crap, and it makes me want to die. So, and the fact that they're going to try to bring it back is going to be like, I don't know if they're doing that or if they're just remastering, like, the first game. I thought the first game already had a remaster on the PS4.
Yeah, so the first game has a remaster, where basically all they did for that was, they added a 60 FPS mode, they improved the graphics a little bit, and they bundled in the DLC.
Alright, yeah, that sounds like what they do for all of them.
Whereas I think what they're doing with this one is they're fully, like, remaking the game from scratch.
Oh, I see. Well, yeah, that would be quite something because, you know, I think The Last of Us 2 really fucks with the chronology of the first game because, like Southpaw has explained to me before, and I totally agree with it. It kind of just makes the first game almost irrelevant because, like, it ruins the canon of the first game, really, because it's kind of treating Joel like he's in the wrong, which is just a load of shit on so many levels. But yeah.
Yeah, and I think one of my biggest concerns for the remake is that they're going to make huge changes to the story so that it kind of, I guess, fits better with the second one, but I think they might mainly just make it so that Joel seems even worse.
Oh man, talk about character assassination, Jesus Christ.
But yeah, I think that's might be their main goal, but yeah, what I was saying earlier is that there is kind of a bit of a gray area with remakes and remasters because there have been a few remakes coming out in the last few years that they sort of like do both. So like a good example I was telling you about this on Discord is a studio called Blue Point Games, and
yeah.
so
Oh yeah.
so So they have recently remade Shadow of the Colossus and Demon Souls, and so basically with those ones, they completely redid the graphics. So like they have way more graphical fidelity than they had before, and they also made some improvements to the mechanics. But for the most part, both of those games have the original structure that they had before.
Oh yeah, actually the Shadow of the Colossus remake was actually really super good, and it was only like $40, something like that.
Yeah, both of them I thought were really good.
Yeah, so they actually got a pretty good reputation. So, I think they'll handle the game. I think the game will play just wonderfully and all that stuff. But the story is what everyone's going to worry about.
Yeah, and see, the thing is, Blue Point actually is not handling this remake. So from what I heard, there was some sort of like San Diego studio that was working on this, and they didn't have Sony's funding. But they asked Sony if they could like help them finish it, and basically, Sony told them that they wanted to give the remake to Naughty Dog. So now Naughty Dog is finishing the remake.
Oh, I see. Um, so yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a bit shaky, to be honest. I just don't want him to turn Joel into the bad guy, like, the whole time. Like, oh, you thought he was the good guy. But no, actually, he was doing objectively the wrong thing. I mean, the impression you get about the Fireflies through the entirety of the first game is that, yeah, these guys are, like, terrorist, crazy people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just saying that, like... And, they were doing it entirely without Ellie's consent. They were just basically kidnapping this woman and saying, like, yeah, you're gonna die for the sake of humanity. And it's just like, yeah, would you... If you were in that situation, you'd just tell him, yeah, probably fuck him.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I'm gonna be Pocket for Roadhog here. That'd be cool. That'd be a lot of fun. But, I guess we could always go on about Last of Us 2 and how much of a piece of crap that is, but on some level that was done to death. I mean, yeah, you probably got a lot to say about it, so I'll let you go off a little bit, because Lord knows I do as well. But, man, playing Overwatch and doing this is going to be tough, because, I'm really pushing the limits of how I can talk and play at the same time. This will be rough.
Yeah, it's funny. I decided to play a game as well. I started a new playthrough of Bloodborne, and that probably wasn't the best choice.
Dude, I actually beat Bloodborne 100%. I bet you, I don't know if you knew that or not.
Oh, that's sick. I've beaten every Souls game except for Dark Souls 2, but I've never 100%ed them. I don't have the guts to do it.
Oh, since we're talking about remakes, how about Dark Souls Remastered? That was something.
Yeah, so yeah, that wasn't a remake, that was a remaster.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that being kind of controversial when it came out, because it is basically the same game, but I think they made some changes to the art direction a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually don't know a ton about that because I didn't actually play that much of the original version of Dark Souls. I'm more familiar with the remastered version because for me, Bloodborne was really the game that got me into the Dark Souls type games.
Oh yeah, Bloodborne is pretty fucking brilliant. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and that came out afterwards, and then later I went back and played them all the way. Like I said, I've beaten them all except for Dark Souls 2 because I don't like Dark Souls 2.
You're actually not alone on that. A lot of people hate Dark Souls 2. But one of my best friends of all time, he is the biggest Star Wars fan. Not Star Wars. What the fuck am I talking about? Dark Souls fan. I'm playing Overwatch, okay? Dark Souls. One of the biggest Dark Souls. He's a Dark Souls aficionado. That man knows more about Dark Souls than I'll ever know about anything in my life. Like, that man he has a chronology on every weapon. I watch him play PvP and Dark Souls, and man, he's just like, he can outplay anybody. That man's like top of the world, really good. But like, that's his favorite game of all time. He has this thing called the board game. Dark Souls the board game. I bet you didn't even know that existed.
I think I actually have heard about that.
Oh yeah, but yeah, Dark Souls the board game. We actually played it a lot. We played. I kid you not. We played it for 8 straight hours. Trying to do one campaign because Dark Souls the board game is long as fuck. It's long and it can be it can actually be kind of difficult, but like, you know, it's really not too hard because like it's a lot like the game. The Dark Souls, the board game, is pretty much exactly like the game. Like, you know, you're grinding for souls and you're grinding for levels and stuff. That is how you play the game. And, you know, that's exactly what we did. But, man, the campaign, it consists of, like, you have to beat 2 bosses, I think, for one section of a campaign. Like, I think that's one story. Like, you can either do the Dancer from Dark Souls 3, or you can do, one of the... Yeah, it's really hard for me to think right now. But you can do the Dancer, and you can do Ornstein and Smo. And we fought Ornstein and Smo, and that was a lot of fun. But, yeah, Dark Souls, the board game, is pretty brilliant. But what I know about the first Dark Souls remake, to actually get back on topic about the remake, oh my god, these shotgunners. What I know about the remake is a lot of the present glitches in Dark Souls was, like, already in there. Like, glitches that were never... that were fixed in the first Dark Souls were prevalent again in the remaster of the game, which was pretty funny. Like, so, the glitches, like, that were pretty prominent, I think one of them was, fuck me if I can think right now. Like, you could do the backstabbing, you could chain backstab, like, that was originally one of the most broken things of Dark Souls PvP. You can still do it in the remaster. Yeah, and although, it was basically, the main reason people were super mad about it was because that it was basically... just the first Dark Souls game with like a mod installed. That's all that basically changed between that and the original game. And that felt like kind of a ripoff for $40. And they're like kind of doing the Skyrim thing. And believe me, Skyrim. You want to talk about remakes? There's Skyrim. I mean, oh my god, that game's been remade like 70,000 times for different consoles.
I mean, as far as my definition goes, it hasn't been remade. It's just been ported a lot.
That's true, actually. Yeah. It's more of a remake, but yeah, they did it for like the Switch, they did it for some of the consoles, they did it for that, and oh shit, Roadhog's almost dead. Fly, mercy, fly, please.
I was just about to go fight the cleric beast, but now I think I want to do something else first because that might be a little too intense for me right now.
Oh god, wait till you get to the Orphan of Cause. That'll be the most fun you'll ever have with it.
Yeah, I don't know, I guess maybe I could go get the shortcut to Gascoigne or something. You know what, screw it, I'm just gonna go fight the cleric beast, I'm already here.
Yeah, when it comes to, Father Gascoigne, he represents one of the biggest jumps in difficulty, oh god, heavy assault. He's one of the biggest difficulty jumps in Dark Souls, like in Bloodborne, I mean.
Oh yeah, for sure, I remember my first playthrough, I got owned by him so much.
That was me too, yeah.
Yeah, I remember the first boss I fought was the Cleric Beast, and I died a couple times, but after a couple tries, I got it, and I didn't think he was that hard. And I didn't think Gascoigne was that hard until he does his third phase where he hulks out.
Oh yeah, and his attacks become a lot slower, but they hit like a fucking truck.
Yeah.
Dude, that was actually a fun part of the boss fight. I expected him to only have 2 phases, because that's kind of how Dark Souls was, but he had 3, and I was kind of like, oh, and he turns into a beast, because it's like, yeah, that's kind of his thing, you know, he's turning into that. You can find the jeweled red brooch there, too, when you go to that side quest with the little girl, and she's in there. I remember that side quest to this day, because, yeah, if you complete that whole quest, I won't spoil it or anything, but, yeah, the ending to that side quest is really bad.
I've already done that quest before.
Oh really? Oh, you already know.
Yeah, I've beaten Bloodborne a few times.
Oh yeah. It is definitely a brilliant game. I love that game to pieces. And it's the only reason I bought a PS4, to be honest with you.
I heard that for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, on some level, I was hoping they would remake it for PC. See, I'm tying it back into remakes. I wish they would not remake it. It's a remaster, not a remake. I keep calling everything a remake.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Overwatch, that's why. But,
Overwatch is ruining your brain.
Yeah, I know. I have to think about, damage boosting Roadhog. Sniper! Fuck! That's a shotgun. No. Oh, I'm the only one alive. Well, fuck everything. Never mind. Okay, so now I can talk. So, yeah, I keep calling it... I wish they would have it for PC. If they made a good port for Bloodborne on the PC, I would be the happiest camper of all time. Let me tell you what.
Right now, I'm hoping for a PS5 patch. So that... oh, shit. I almost died. What am I trying to say? I just want them to do a patch, at least, so that it runs at 60 FPS on PS5, and I would also like a PC port, just so that other people can play it, and I can watch people play it with higher frame rates and better graphics settings and whatnot.
Yeah, because holy shit,
that would be
Bloodborne
super
runs
cool.
like Bloodborne runs like absolute shit on the PS4.
Yeah, it does. Orphan of Costs runs at like 5 frames per second at times.
Oh my
It's
God.
especially bad on that fight.
Yeah, when he gets to his second phase, yeah, that's where it gets really bad when he has
And he
particle
starts
effects.
like all those like water effects and stuff. It really, fucks it up. And I've noticed on PS5 it's a little bit more consistent, but it's still capped at 30 FPS because it wasn't programmed to be 60 FPS. But there have been lots of PS4 games that have been getting patches so that they can do 60. Like God of War 4 recently got a patch so it can do 4K and 60, which is pretty sweet.
Oh, sorry, I just said God of War.
I mean, yeah, technically it is that. You could call it that. It's the fourth main God of War, even though they only called it God of War.
Yeah, God of War 4. That was actually a pretty decent game. I like that. But I didn't play it really or anything. I watched other people play it on the hardest difficulty. And yeah, it's basically Dark Souls.
Yeah, it definitely does have a very similar combat system. And I remember when I first saw gameplay for it, I was a bit disappointed because, I'm a huge fan of the old God of War games, and, I was kind of mad that they were changing the combat system. But once I played it, I really liked it, and I don't know, I would maybe say I even like it better than the old system, but I don't know.
Yeah, admittedly, I haven't played the old God of War games. Really, I haven't played any of them. Like, I remember that one game that was kind of a lot like God of War. I think that was Dante's Inferno. Yeah, that's the one. That's the only one that I admit I played. But that was a pretty weird one because I like Christian mythology kind of games. I have a soft spot for those kind of games.
Yeah, I've played Dante's Inferno. It was decent. I don't think it's as good as God of War, but it was pretty fun. I thought it got kind of boring in the second half for me, but I thought the first half was really good.
I remember there was one point where he shows his hairy butt, so that's one thing that's burned into my memory.
Yeah, but yeah, the first half just had so many really memorable areas. It had such a creepy atmosphere to it, and the boss fights were really cool. And then after a while, the enemy variety just didn't really improve, and the areas got kind of bland.
Yeah, one thing that really makes the God of War game is the boss battles, I think. Just like Dark Souls, weirdly enough. The boss battles are what make the game. What make or break the game.
And I think the enemy variety, too. I think for those kind of games, it's really important to continually introduce new enemy types to keep it feeling fresh.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, what I was going to say, because we're talking about remakes here, I was going to mention, did you mention the PS5 earlier? I was going to say its prime title is, funny enough, Demon Souls.
Yeah.
I think that one's a remake, or is that a remaster too?
I would consider it a remake. Others would consider it a remaster. Because again, like, technically it is the same game because, like, all of the levels are designed exactly the same way. All of the bosses are pretty much the same. The story is pretty much the same, but they completely overhauled the graphics, and they made a bunch of quality of life improvements to the mechanics, and just made it feel more modern. And but some people would argue, since they didn't really make like any drastic changes to the structure of the game, then it should be considered more like a remaster. But I don't know, I think I would still consider it a remake because it does make significant enough changes, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the big difference, actually. So, yeah, sometimes I use the words interchangeably, admittedly, because I'm like, remakes, remasters. Well, like, they did something new to it, and it feels kind of new, but, like, if it's largely the same game like Demon Souls is, yeah. I would say probably better logic plays. Oh,
yeah, I beat Cleric Demon, by the way.
Oh yeah, Cleric Beast was like, I don't know if he's technically he's an optional boss in Bloodborne, but you actually don't have to fight him at all. But like, really, he's the first boss you'll ever logically like come across, which I thought that's kind of interesting. But really, you could skip him entirely. You can almost never knew he existed, and that's like what makes the open-ended nature of like the Dark Souls games really fun. Oh god, almost died. What am I doing?
Yeah, I guess I just mainly wanted the Blood Echo so I can level up and have an easier time with Gascoigne.
Yeah, admittedly, he could whoop your ass if you're not careful. Like, he's not like any other enemy. He's actually super fast. A lot faster than all the other enemies are. Which I think is a lot of fun on that. But either way, so yeah, you told me over Discord, you DM'd me about, I think the new Winter Soldier stuff. Admittedly, I don't know a whole lot about any of that, but you told me that the Fandom Menace was angry about it, so that made me interested immediately.
Yeah, so I've been doing some research into it over the last week, and it's been kind of fascinating. I don't really watch, like, any of the Fandom Menace channels regularly anymore, but sometimes I just kind of like to go in and check and see what they're doing, and, yeah, a lot of them are pretty pissed about Falcon and Winter Soldier, and, it doesn't really surprise me. Why? Because, so you haven't seen the show, right?
Admittedly, I know almost nothing about it, so you're teaching me some stuff today.
Okay, so the thing I'm about to say isn't really like a big spoiler or anything, but basically in the second episode of the show, so there's a part where Sam and Bucky, do you know those characters?
I've heard those names before. Ice Cat actually brought them up to me, so I've heard those names before.
Sam is also known as the Falcon. He's a black character. He has a little suit that he can fly around with. That's kind of irrelevant to this. Bucky was Captain America's best friend. And, so basically there's a scene where, Sam sees like a shocking revelation that Bucky had been holding from him for a little while, and then they get into an argument as they're walking down a street, and so as they're arguing, Sam gets really mad and he's shouting, and then two white police officers show up and they ask like, "Hey, is there a problem? Is this guy bothering you?" And it's heavily implied that they were, racial profiling Sam.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I just had to sorry. Stop bringing up modern issues in entertainment.
Yeah, and then one of the cops whispers into the other one, like, "Hey, this guy is actually really important. He's a hero." And he's like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." And then after that, they end up arresting Bucky for a story reason. And so yeah, it was this little scene. Clearly a social commentary on the way how police sometimes treat black people, and for obvious reasons, the Fandom Menace is not happy about it.
Not surprisingly, no.
Are not fans of BLM.
Why do they have to have politics in my entertainment?
Yeah,
they get their panties all in a bunch.
And it's like I've been thinking about this. I think even like some of the older MCU movies actually did have like bits and pieces of social commentary and politics here and there. It's just that nobody cared back then.
Yeah, not to the extent they do today, because yeah. Okay, I got you, Farrah. Team up for special attack. So yeah, it sounds like, oh god, that's a heavy assault.
And then a lot of them have been saying that there are reports that the ratings dropped after the second episode.
That means it's dying and it'll go away because leftists can't keep their politics out of entertainment.
Yeah, but I don't even think it dropped that much. I think there's still a lot of people watching it. And I remember I saw this one video from Ryan Kinnell. Do you know who that is?
RK Outpost?
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy. That dude rubs me the wrong way. I haven't seen too much about him, but from what little I know, he kind of rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah, he's a weird guy.
Oh, fuck.
I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, yeah, so he made a video. I think this might have actually been before that episode came out, but there were rumors before the show even came out that there were going to be political themes and some race issues tackled, and
just like how Watchmen did that stuff,
yeah. Against it, like, prematurely.
Not surprising. Oh god. Oh fuck, we're all dying. Okay, sorry.
Like, I found out that Geeks and Gamers made a video where they said, like, oh my god, Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be about Orange Man bad, which it hasn't been so far, like, at all.
They always say Orange Man bad. That's basically the oh, you're sexist or racist when they say, like, oh, it's Orange Man bad now.
Yeah, I even remember Jeremy made a video before Joker came out. He reported on a rumor that Joker was going to be all about Trump, and it had, like, nothing about Trump in it.
that would be kind of funny, though, if Trump just had a cameo in it, like he did in Home Alone 2.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of funny. Be like, hey there, Mr. Joker. So, you know, it's all about, shooting's all about mental illness, right? You know, I hope you don't, you know, you go out there. Everything's going to be okay. I can assure you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about the subtlety of Trump, so there you go.
Yeah, I think the rumor for that originally was that Thomas Wayne, Batman's dad, was going to be like an allegory for Trump. And in the actual movie, I don't really see it. I mean, like, you could stretch it and maybe say that he was, but mainly he's just kind of a rich capitalist asshole, not, like, specifically any references to Trump or anything.
As far as I knew, like, Arthur was, like, Thomas Wayne was basically, like, his idol, like, his, well, no, actually, that was Murray. He was the father.
Yeah,
but, like, Thomas Wayne, yeah.
Yeah, he hated Thomas Wayne.
Yeah, those guys. I still like the Joker movie. I thought it was really good, but yeah, I don't know why people believe stupid ass like theories like that. It's gonna be about Trump. It's just like, well, it's just like a rich guy in the Batman universe. I mean, I guess you can probably try to do that, but that's really dumb.
Yeah, I mean, Batman's rich.
Well, I mean, like, the main reason that, like, I've heard leftists say they don't like Batman is because, well, he has a kind of a fascist. I mean, when you think about it, he's a vigilante. He basically goes out and he's basically just a vigilante. He's not affiliated with the police, you know, he runs from the police, obviously. So, the biggest thing is, like, yeah, he wants law and order, so he just goes out and punches people in the face. No trial, no nothing, you know. I mean, they are bad guys, but at the same time, it's just like, the whole vigilante thing is just not, that doesn't, you know, I've never been a pro-vigilante or any of that stuff. Like, I'm trying to think about what I'm trying to say, but, like, Overwatch is covering my mind. But yeah, so it sounds like typical shit from the Phantom Menace, to be honest.
Yeah, it kind of is. Have you, did I finish what I was saying about, Ryan Kinnell?
I think you said a little bit, I remember a little bit.
So, his video, he was basically saying, so I think Falcon and Winter Soldier came out the day after, the Snyder Cut released on HBO Max, and, he made a big deal about how the Snyder Cut, apparently had, like, bigger opening numbers than, Falcon and Winter Soldier did.
Really? Yeah. Oh, you were saying, like, yeah, he said the numbers for it were down because, like, leftist propaganda or shake fist.
Yeah, so actually this was when the show first premiered. But yeah, it might have been, like I said, they were already, like, ready to hate the show because they were hearing, like, the rumors about it. being like leftist or whatever, and
It's gonna be gay propaganda. They're gonna get the gays in there.
And so yeah, he said that apparently the Snyder Cut had a bigger premiere. Although I remember one of the statistics he read out was really funny. He said over like 1.7 million people watched the first 5 minutes of the Snyder Cut.
4.7 million people watched the first 5 minutes?
1.7.
1.7. Oh, okay.
And it's like, yeah, the first 5 minutes of a 4-hour movie.
I see. That's admittedly kind of... Okay. Okay. That's a fact.
And it's like even if the Snyder Cut did have bigger premiere numbers in it, that absolutely does not make it better than Falcon and Winter Soldier, which it's not.
What
I think
is
I
it?
told you this.
That's a trend I see with the fandom menace so much. They're just like, this movie is doing well, and it's putting it in the dirt. They did it with, like, Sonic the Hedgehog and fucking, what is it? Fucking, now I'm blanking on the name right now. It was, with Harley Quinn.
Birds of Prey.
Birds of Prey. Yeah, they did it with that, like, Sonic the Hedgehog is succeeding, and Birds of Prey fans are angry about it. It's just like, what the fuck? Like, those are two completely different movies with two completely different ratings. For two completely different audiences, and you're saying like, oh, this will put it out of business or some shit.
Yeah, it's like this wasn't the Fandom Menace, but I remember when Venom was coming out, there were people who wanted to boycott A Star Is Born because it was coming out the same weekend, and like both of those movies did incredibly well at the box office because they're both completely different things for different audiences.
Yeah, I know. It's funny how the Fandom Menace seems to lose their brain whenever that comes up. It's like, oh wait, this movie's doing good, therefore it makes this movie good, better than this movie. And it's like, well, it's a little bit more subjective. I mean, I know you hate stuff, and you just have to hate it because that's what your audience wants to hear. They want you to hear you hate stuff, like regardless of whether or not it makes sense or anything, or it's actually true. Because like with the Fandom Menace, the truth is optional. That's what I've learned anyway.
But yeah, and I remember I told you about this on Discord. So I loved the Snyder Cut, but I don't think it's actually a good movie.
I admittedly watched it through other people. I saw the first Justice League movie. I was with one of my best friends. We watch movies together all the time. I saw the I think they call it Justice League.
Yeah, Justice League.
Yeah, I saw that one, and I thought it was a train wreck, to be honest. It seemed like a movie that was like, it seemed like Lord of the Rings. Like the theatrical cut of Lord of the Rings is what it felt like. There's so much cut out of it. That, like, it's like, okay, it still makes sense on the surface, but, like, it seems like there's a lot cut out of it.
Yeah, but I mean, even the theatrical cuts of Lord of the Rings are way better, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're still, like, 2 hours, 45 minutes. I mean, yeah, they are quite something.
But the extended editions are definitely better. They make already, masterpieces even better.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I watched the second movie. We haven't, our theaters opened up because, COVID is no longer, like, horribly affecting this town. So we had movie theaters open and stuff, and they were playing the Two Towers of Lord of the Rings, and we saw that. And yeah, Lord of the Rings I like quite a lot, but man, when you watch the theatrical cut and you watch the extended cut, yeah, that's what I felt like with Joss Whedon and Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
I mean, Zack Snyder... Oh, sorry, you go ahead.
I definitely think the Snyder Cut is a lot better than the Justice League cut. There were a lot of improvements. There were a lot of dumb scenes in the original that were replaced by better scenes, but there's still a lot of the same problems with Justice League are still in it because it's still a lot of the same movie, just with more scenes.
Some of those scenes with Aquaman and the Flash, they're just like, oh my god. Like, the Flash, I know he's supposed to be the comedic guy, but, like, I never laughed at anything he said. I'm serious.
I find Ezra Miller extremely annoying as Flash.
Yeah. I'm just like, I'm sure maybe that's controversial. I don't know. I think the Flash is a pretty cool character. Admittedly, I don't know a whole lot about comic books. Like, I know a bit. Like, I know the first issue in, like, where the Punisher shows up in Spider-Man, like Spider-Man 127. That's the first appearance of the Punisher. I thought that was pretty cool. Neat little fact. Think about random stuff while I'm going on Overwatch. But yeah, I think I've heard this through other people, and maybe you agree with this, maybe not. I think the Zack Snyder one was a lot more consistent as to where the Joss Whedon one felt like it was a big mishmash. And of course it's going to feel that way because, like, Zack Snyder literally couldn't do it because, he has suicide family, all that stuff. He literally could not do it.
Yeah, it does feel a bit more tonally consistent, at least. There's way less of the dumb, corny humor that was in that version.
Yeah, I remember the first scene of the Justice League. The first scene of it seems like really dark. It's with Batman. He's on a rooftop. He's dead now. Superman. Remember that scene, the very first scene? But then, like, the rest of it cuts to this really sad stuff about, like, oh, it's crime and awful stuff. But then, like, the rest of the movie's, like, brightly colored and stuff, tries to be funny and all that. With Superman on the iPhone. And it's like, oh, it's so relatable. He's a big superhero, but he's so relatable. It's like, two different tones are blatantly going on, almost as if they were, like, two different movies.
Yeah, the Justice League started with that weird iPhone scene, and so that scene isn't in the Snyder Cut at all. They replaced that with they showed Superman dying at the end of Batman v Superman, and him like screaming in pain.
Right. Yeah.
To kind of go better with Zack Snyder's overly dark tones that he tries to go with his movies, which a lot of people are not a fan of. But it's weird because there were still some jokes in the Snyder Cut, which kind of makes me think that it might not actually be his pure vision after all. Because, like, if you look at his previous two DC movies, Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, like, those movies have almost no comedy in them. Like, I don't think they have any jokes in them at all. They're, like, super serious and depressing.
Yeah, if you've ever seen Sucker Punch, you know what the movie Sucker Punch is?
I have not seen it, but I've heard of it.
It's a Zack Snyder movie. It's a super, like, supposedly dark movie where, like, it's about the lady, I think if I remember the plot correctly, she gets her sister killed and stuff by some big guy. It's very, like, super artistic, but yeah, it's, like, super dark and stuff. Usually there's never any jokes in it. Like, that's a very serious movie. But that's my experience with Zack Snyder's other movies.
Yeah, he also directed the movie adaptation of Watchmen, which already was a very dark. Like, I've actually read the graphic novel for Watchmen, and I love it.
Yeah. Oh, it's a masterpiece. Hell yeah.
But there were definitely still problems with the movie version.
Yeah, at least admittedly, I don't remember too much. I think we just got fucked on this Overwatch round, so I had Transcendence. I should have probably used that. So I'm a big sticky dum dum. Feel free to make fun of me because it sucked.
I just got butt fucked by Gascoigne.
Oh yeah, that tends to happen.
Yeah, I think sometimes when I'm doing a run, either I beat him like flawlessly on the first try, or he like kills me 5 times.
That's kind of Dark Souls when you get down to it.
Yeah, I think I'll probably try and get him a couple more times, but if I can't get him, then I might just switch to another game that's a little less intense, so I can focus more on the conversations.
Yeah, something to consider about Batman.
What were we talking about before?
You're supposed to be going on about remakes, but I was kind of like, admittedly, it was going a bit scatterbrained and stuff, but like, we normally talk like this. We have a general topic, and we just go off on whatever. We're pretty good at that.
Yeah.
And I'll show you how either good or bad I am with Zenyatta. Usually, I like Zenyatta. I think he's a lot of fun to play. I like playing healers. That's my primary thing, because everybody in Overwatch sucks at playing healers. I swear. Either they're gonna be pretty good or they're gonna suck all the shit in the world. So I normally just fill the role. I'm pretty okay at it. I guess maybe I'm mediocre. Who knows?
But I don't know. Do you think the Snyder Cut would kind of work within remake territory?
Snyder Cut, yeah, that's actually a big one. Admittedly, it could. Well, like, I'm assuming WB is probably going to be like, well, the Joss Whedon, well, that happened, but, like, this one is, like, the official one, because we got Zack Snyder originally, but now he's doing that. And they're selling it on the fact that, yeah, this is his vision, unfiltered, and all that stuff. And there you go.
So actually, they have said that Justice League is still the canon version.
Oh, really?
But I have a feeling that they're going to change that, given the positive response that the Snyder Cut has gotten.
Oh, yeah. I've heard, admittedly, yeah, because like I said, I've watched it through other people. I've heard mixed stuff. Some people saying it's the worst thing they've ever seen, and other people are saying it's like, oh, this is everything it should have been. And I'm just like, well, yeah, the movie has some objective problems from what I hear, but, they say it's more consistent, but, like, it's just more bloated. It felt more bloated than the first one is, but the first one felt really fucking bloated. It felt like Amazing Spider-Man 2 level territory, where you just like have 5 different villains, but they only get like one scene each. That's what the Justice League felt like to me.
Yeah, and comparing anything to Amazing Spider-Man 2 was not good.
No, because that movie is dog shit.
It is. That's like that was like one of the most infuriating movie-going experiences I've ever had, because I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, and it was just trash.
The people you should feel bad for the most are Rhino fans like me.
Oh yeah, Rhino got buck-fucked hard.
Oh my god.
The character department, he was awful. But I'm trying to remember what I was gonna say. Something else. Oh yeah.
Why is Rhino a dude in armor? He was a genetic experiment from Oscorp originally. That makes him cool. He was just a mobster who got, like, rhino serum. It makes him a big guy, like the Hulk. But, like, they turned him into a guy in a robot suit, an incredibly impractical robot suit. Sorry, I had to rant about that.
It's okay. I remember I first got introduced to Rhino through the Spider-Man 2 video game.
Yeah, I did too. Like, that. You only fight him once, I think once in the whole game, from what I remember.
Yeah, it was fun, though.
Yeah, he's swinging around like... was he swinging around? What was he swinging? He had a big, like, log thing that he was swinging around in his boots. And then he gets super dizzy, and then you can punch the shit out of him. I still remember that. Yeah, that's pretty funny. I liked the Spider-Man 2 game. That one was one of the only good movie license games. But actually, those have gotten a lot better in years.
Mm-hmm. I keep forgetting what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, I know that some people like Mauler and Southpaw think that the Snyder Cut is actually worse than Justice League.
Well, admittedly, I haven't seen it, so I can't tell. But like, I've watched the review from Your Movie Sucks, and he says I think he said it was tonally more consistent, but like as if to it's better or worse, I don't entirely know.
Yeah, and YMS hasn't seen the original version.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's like I think he said it in this review, and I agree with this, is that I think the main reason why it gets so much praise is because we had such a shitty movie before.
Yeah.
That like any kind of improvement would seem like a great thing, and I kind of feel like if the Snyder Cut was the only version of Justice League we ever got, I don't think it would get nearly as much praise as it actually is getting.
That is true. Yep, I think that's true as well. At least from what I hear. I didn't see it.
Yeah, and I might have to rewatch the original Justice League just to make sure, because I'm actually thinking about doing a review of the Snyder Cut, and I'd like to kind of refresh myself on Justice League. But I also I watched Red Letter Media's review of it, and they were mostly positive of it, and they went through like each change, and I think structurally the Snyder Cut is definitely a big improvement in a lot of ways. I think the pacing was a bit tighter in certain parts, and some of the exposition was a bit less shit.
Yeah, admittedly, Hollywood movies in general have a kind of a problem with the whole, them being super wordy on exposition, and that's the thing that kind of kills Hollywood movies for me.
Yeah, so there's a thing in both movies called the mother boxes, which is like the big part of the bad guy's plan. And in the original version in the Justice League version, so like Batman fights an alien, and he like splatters him on a wall, and then his blood turns into the shape of boxes, and that's how he finds it out originally.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas
that
in the
funny.
Snyder Cut, Wonder Woman actually tells him this like big story about a war over the mother boxes, and you actually get to see like this big cool war, and it's actually a pretty decent scene.
Oh yeah, when they do battle scenes, yeah, Hollywood does battle scenes really well. Yep.
Yeah,
Up there with, is it up there with Lord of the Rings?
not at all, not even
at all.
close.
Oh, I see. I see. I feel you there. All the assassins got stuck. Yes. Get fucked.
I'm now on my third try of Gascoigne. I've been doing really bad with my parries. He can be kind of hard to parry sometimes.
Yeah, parry is an art. Just like deflecting in Dark. Oh god. Yeah, he just marked me. Yeah, deflecting is an art for sure in the Dark Souls.
Bloodborne.
In Bloodborne. Fuck me. Basically, well, people would basically say, yeah, it's Bloodborne, Dark Souls, basically the same thing. It's like, no, I like the look of Bloodborne. I like the Victorian era. Dark Souls.
Yeah, Bloodborne definitely has a more interesting aesthetic to it.
From Software, please make it for PC, please.
Yeah.
I want to play it at 144 FPS. Oh god.
Shit. I ran out of ammo and then I died.
Okay. So yeah, either way, since we're talking about remake movies and you're wanted to talk about the Snyder Cut, you sound like you could do a pretty decent video. You can make a good like Southpaw style video on that. I would wait to see that. That'd be pretty cool.
I've also been thinking about doing a video. This is actually related to a remake topic. I've been thinking about doing a video ranting about the live action Disney movie remakes. Because I really hate those.
Oh, sorry, I'm in a clutch moment. What was that?
So I really hate the live action Disney remakes.
Oh my god, don't even get me started on Mulan. I'm gonna probably have a seizure if you go on about Mulan.
Yeah, a lot of people say that Wonder Woman 1984 was the worst movie of 2020, and that movie was absolute dog shit, but I still think
that's gonna be worse. That one is definitely in the running for one of the worst things I've seen. Have you seen some of those green screen action moments? Oh my god, it looks like it was like a Neil Breen kind of thing.
Yeah.
It looks like it was filmed by Neil Breen, if anybody knows who that is. Oh god.
I know who he is. I've seen YMS's review of his movies. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, oh boy. But yeah, 1984. Oh man. I only watched the reviews for that one. Admittedly, because I don't go to the movies too often. Oh god, please heal, heal, Arisa. Thank you. Okay. There's a real clutch mode. We had to kill the heavy assault. So, and Zenyatta's a good healer. You could just throw it on someone and it heals them constantly. But like, he's very fragile and you can only heal one person at a time, much like Mercy, but you could also do pretty good DPS. So that's some fun Overwatch facts. But for here, I think one of the remakes that I brought up that was really bad, when we're talking about worst movies of 2020, I'm surprised, I think did people talk about Cuties being the worst of 2020? I think that one's easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I never saw that.
That was too easy. Unfortunately, I did. I saw it on Netflix before it was good because I heard buzz about it. Pretty negative buzz. So I was just like, well, let's be optimistic. Let's go into it, because when the Phantom Menace is usually talking about something, I'm kind of like, well, I should probably look into it myself so I can, have opinion too. Because if they hate it, there's most likely, some weird reason as to why. But, the Phantom Menace turned out to be totally right on it. That it was totally bad. So I can agree with them every once in a while.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they're not always wrong about everything, but I mean, shit. They just happen to spread stupid rumors a lot. And admittedly, while I'm riffing on that kind of stuff, have you heard about the whole Jordan Peterson being compared to Red Skull?
I have not, actually. I think I've heard about it, but I don't know anything about it.
So the one thing I do know about that is that just some guy, he's a comic skater kind of guy. I think he's an actual comic book artist and stuff. He was I know that guy. I know, he was super, I think he was, I'll have to watch the video again. I was thinking about doing it, but admittedly, I didn't have too much riffing material. But, he stands, pretty hard for Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson is, he's one of those self-help guys, if you don't know. He's one of those, self-help scam artist kind of people. He was the guy responsible for Bill C-16, the whole, oh, you can go to jail for misgendering someone, which is complete bullshit. He was responsible for that. So, is he, a fat... as far as I understand it, the whole controversy is based around, him just using language that Jordan Peterson does. The same, language, the same, style. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck me. No, don't kill me, please. Oh, assassin. Oh, assassin. Oh, assassin. No! I had 9 health. I had no transcendence. But yeah, as far as I see, Red Skull was using a lot of the dialogue that Jordan Peterson would do, and basically, the comic community dropped their shit, oh, these SJW writers, they hate other opinions, and comics are going down the toilet. This is proof of that, and all that kind of crap. Yeah, they stand, if you don't know, Jordan Peterson has some fucking stands. There are some people who will, stand for him. There's a dedicated group of people, at least 1,000 or so, that, dislike bomb anybody who says anything negative about Jordan Peterson. Which is why I kind of wanted to make a video on that, because, admittedly, the only reason I didn't do the Just Some Guy video was because, I was talking more about Jordan Peterson than I was about him, and it's just well, I like to talk to the person I'm talking about, and mostly he's just kind of oh, these fascists, these people are the real fascists, and all that kind of, that standard bullcrap.
I mean, you definitely should. You sound like you're pretty passionate about this subject.
Jordan Peterson, I hate with a fiery passion, but yeah. I mean, he's not the worst human being ever, but, I know when there's some dipshit who comes at me you want to take away people's rights to call you, I'm going to call you what you are in reality, not what you think it's because of people like Jordan Peterson. That's one big reason why. So that's why I can never like him. I'm not going to say I'm not going to be fair to him. I'll be fair to him because that's what I do. But, me and him can never truly be friends. I'll never be friends with the Lobster King, unfortunately.
Yeah, makes sense.
You probably don't know the lobster jokes.
I don't think I do.
So, a big thing with Jordan Peterson is, in one of his lectures, he's going on about, the meaning of life and shit. I think it was in 12 Rules for Life. Where he goes about, now consider the lobster. It's just it's a really stupid comparison between people and lobsters. It's just that's the big meme with Jordan Peterson is lobsters. He's the Lobster King and stuff, and he sounds like Kermit the Frog. Those are the big jokes with them. They're pretty funny. I like those memes. They're always pretty funny. Okay, so we got Baptiste. I'm gonna use Ash. Fuck it. The Ash is pretty cool.
I actually switched games. I'm playing Crash Bandicoot now.
Oh, you're playing an even harder game now.
Yeah, I don't think it's as hard as Bloodborne, but it's still kind of a tough game.
Crash Bandicoot is the Dark Souls of platformers. Remember when Games journalists...
yeah, I remember that. That was really funny.
Remember when games journalists do that fucking shit where they're just this is the Dark Souls of shooters. This is the Dark Souls of Dark Souls. Dark Souls is the Dark Souls, that Dark Souls of Dark Souls. And it's like, why do you have to compare everything to fucking Dark Souls? Dark Souls isn't the only difficult game to ever exist. For fuck's sake.
Yeah.
It's just really cringy.
Yeah, they called Crash Bandicoot and Cuphead the Dark Souls of platformers.
Just like, well, Crash Bandicoot, the original ones, yeah, are pretty hard, but like, they're pretty manageable. They remind me of the first Donkey Kong game. Like, me and my best friend, we beat Donkey Kong the first time, and that was pretty hard. Some of those rail cart sections were a fucking bitch, but like, yeah, we got through it, and it was fairly hard, but like, you know, you give it enough attempts, it's not really like the most difficult thing on the planet. It's manageable.
Yeah, Donkey Kong Country is pretty tough. And it's like for me, I've realized over the last few years that the Dark Souls games have a lot of great mechanics that you can kind of use to make the game a bit easier, to kind of like customize the experience a little bit. You just have to kind of know like what to do and like where to go and what works best for you.
Yeah, you know, because what gets me about this game is like, focusing on the difficulty of Dark Souls, you're kind of missing the point of Dark Souls. The point of Dark Souls is its excellent boss fights and its unique world design. And how it tells its story, too, yeah.
And another way I've always viewed Dark Souls, and other people view it this way, too, especially, so I view at least the first Dark Souls game as sort of an allegory for fighting depression.
Oh, I've heard that before. I've heard someone else say that before.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the difficulty of it can kind of be, you know, because I have depression, and, you know, sometimes real life feels extremely difficult, and I think, I kind of think of the Souls games as a personification of the struggles of depression, and I also think it fits. The difficulty fits really well with the tone and atmosphere that the games are trying to go for. They have like a creepy, harsh worlds.
It's a world that doesn't conform to you. It's a world that's like just bleak and awful. All the gods, like as far as I understand Dark Souls lore, the gods, you know, of the fire, you know, the fire keeps. They have the fire and the darkness and the light. If you lose the darkness, admittedly, Dark Souls lore, I'm not. If you ask my best friend, he'll tell you everything about Dark Souls, about the lore and stuff. Because yeah, the man knows everything. He's played it for 3,000 hours across the whole series.
But yeah, and it's like in the first game, they constantly call your character the Chosen Undead, implying that you're some kind of like special, powerful person.
Oh, shit.
And throughout that game, you find a bunch of corpses, and in all of the Souls games, you find a bunch of corpses who I assume are people who maybe tried to go on the same journey that your character is going on, but they gave up. They went hollow.
Yeah, and hollow is basically kind of like going insane. Is what it basically is, you know. When you give up, you know, when you just give up and, you know, you're supposed to link the flame and all that stuff, but it's just like, yeah, it's hopeless. You know, you're never going to do it. You're facing dragon slayers and gods and all that stuff. Dark Souls lore is pretty fucking cool, but, like, I'll be fucked if I can remember it off the top of my head, especially while I'm trying to headshot shotgunners in Overwatch.
Yeah, and so I kind of view it as, you know, your character, if you beat the game, then, you're just kind of the guy who got lucky.
You're the chosen.
Or at least, or I guess a more positive way you could look at it is that you're the one who endured, whereas everyone else gave up. So you're technically not more special, or you're not more or less special than anyone else. You just tried harder.
That is what's beautiful about Dark Souls. You feel like an average person in a hostile world you don't really understand, but like you just go forward. And, you know, you end up accomplishing great things, and you only do it after failing a lot, and that's how life works, you know.
Yeah.
That is a good allegory for life, and yeah, for depression, yeah, because depression does have that where it feels like you just want to give up every day. That's the basis of depression. So, you know, and Dark Souls kind of does convey that, because the world is a lot like Dark Souls. You know, it's harsh. You don't always understand it. It doesn't always make sense. You know, you can choose. You can either choose to adapt and overcome, or you could just give up and go hollow. As far as I understand it. As far as
and another thing I really love in the game that there are, in each of the games, there are characters who are nice to you and encourage you to keep going on your journey.
Oh god, oh fuck. I'm not gonna
like I forget his name, but there's this one guy in Dark Souls 1 who's really nice. You save him in the sewer area, and he's a pyromancer, and he can teach you pyromancy spells.
Oh yeah, I remember that guy from Dark Souls 3. Yeah, in Dark Souls 1 a bit iffy, but yeah.
I'm not sure if he was in Dark Souls 3. It might have been a different character who was like a reference to him. But yeah, he's like super nice to you when you talk to him. Every time you leave, he says, "Don't you dare go hollow," encouraging you to keep playing the game, even as it keeps getting harder and harder.
Yeah, and admittedly, once you play Dark Souls for long enough, you kind of Dark Souls taught me a lot about game design in general, like how you should structure difficulty, how something feels, like how much should you level up and all that stuff, because actually it does all that like beautifully. Like once you start killing enemies very easily, you feel to the point where like you just gain confidence. These guys who were originally killing you a lot and you were doing no damage to them, now you leveled up and now you're just a badass. You can go and kick their ass.
Yeah, and another really cool design and story decision that I always really liked is that in the second half of the game, I think this starts happening when you go to Anor Londo. So the first time you go to Anor Londo, you fight a mini gargoyle, and it's basically like a smaller and weaker version of the bell gargoyles that you fight at the beginning of the game. And I think what they were trying to imply with that is that you as a player have grown in power and in skill, whereas before you would easily get your ass handed to you by these gargoyle creatures. Now they're like puny, pathetic little creatures to you.
Yeah, they're exactly like the man-eaters from Demon Souls. They're basically that boss battle. But yeah, once two of them show up, you're just kind of like, oh, shit's getting real. But then when you handle them, it's like, there's no better feeling than, knowing that when two bosses show up, one boss that's already given you kind of a hard time, but then another one shows up. It's just like, yeah, shit got real here. The two gargoyles was the first time, but then you come across, let me see, Ornstein and Smoke. There you go. They're like an expanded version of that idea. Yeah, like that was the big one. Like if you beat Ornstein and Smo in 2010, you were considered like a gaming guru. You were considered like a badass. Yeah, I'm a hard motherfucker. I beat Dark Souls in 2010.
Yeah, they're definitely the biggest difficulty jump that the game has. And I feel like once you beat them, you pretty much can beat the rest of the game.
Pretty easily, yeah. Shoot my dynamite, please. But yeah, either way, so I guess I was hoping we were just gonna riff on Last of Us 2 and just be like, yeah, that one's been done to death a million times. I hope the remake is really good. If they have the second game's gameplay, because I think the second game does improve a lot on the first game. The gameplay was not much to write home about in the first game, but like the second game really, its animations are like amazing. Like,
yeah,
they are truly like really, really good because like basically developers had to almost die to create them. So yeah, officially they're pretty amazing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the gameplay for both of them. I'd probably say the second one's a bit better. I don't think like either of them are like the best third-person shooters I've ever played or anything. Right. But I think I do think that it would be cool to see a better playing version of the first game.
Yeah, and some people will probably say that like, oh, the first game is really perfect. Well, The first game is really good. I mean, I think it's a good zombie survival game. You know, it does something unique. It's not just The Walking Dead again. You know, it's like it captures all the best of The Walking Dead, if you ask me. Because everything past season 2 for The Walking Dead is just kind of shit, to be honest. So it feels like the video game Walking Dead, like the first 2 seasons of The Walking Dead. You know, I think those were the best, some of the best TV I've seen. Oh, he just went through the wall. Nice. That guy just went through the wall. Eat my dynamite, motherfucker. All right, Bob, help me. I'm dying. Jesus Christ. So yeah, I'm right now. If anyone's wondering, we're doing like the invulnerable shield mission. This mission in Overwatch is where like every enemy barrier is invulnerable, and the certain big enemies can be a pain in the ass because of that. And we're playing on legendary difficulty, which means they kill you very fucking quickly. Your aim better be fucking good. And I'm playing as Ashe, so my fucking aim better be fucking good. What is nice about Ashe is you don't have to really be super accurate, because you can spam shots and throwing dynamite and all that stuff. So you don't have to be super accurate, but like, yeah, if you want to kill stuff, you gotta be scoping in and going for headshots. That's how you kill shit. But yeah, in terms of The Last of Us, I hope they make the first game with the second game's gameplay in it, if that makes sense. You know, if they keep all that, I don't know how much they're going to change the story. That's going to be the big deciding factor of what they do with it.
Yeah, it's possible that they could just adopt the Blue Point model, just do what they did with Shadow of the Colossus and Demon Souls, but I don't know, I just kind of feel like some of the people at Naughty Dog, like Neil Druckmann, are more, I guess, arrogant than that, and I feel like Neil especially is really going to want to change the story to kind of match, more like, I guess, his original vision, which is terrible. You know, I've heard that originally he wanted to make it so that Joel was definitively the bad guy of the story, whereas in the actual first game, he's much more morally gray and ambiguous.
Yeah, the point is, like, the ending to The Last of Us, the kind of point is like, these, you know, Joel and Ellie are just not good people. Like, you shouldn't really come away with that. Like, Joel cares about Ellie clearly very much, and you as a player do, because you spent the whole game with her. So, you know, and you watch the relationship, and it's well developed. It's really good. There's a reason people love the game so much, and that has a lot to do with it. It really has really good gamer agency, I should say. It's the proper term for it.
Yeah, and I think the way I've always thought of Joel and Ellie is that they're decent people who are constantly put into situations where they have to do horrible things.
They are people in extreme situations, but yeah, you shouldn't view any of them as good or bad, because again, it's an extreme situation. I think that's what the first game was trying to get at with its ambiguous ending. You know, because Joel had to kill a lot of people to get Ellie. Like, even if they are terrorists, they are that still makes him a murderer. So, you know, you feel like, yeah, I know why he did it, and I understand, but it's just like, you know, that's still kind of scary.
Sure. I still think he was mostly in the right at the end, but I can definitely see why a lot of people had a problem with it.
And to be honest, I think they could do it where they make Joel the villain. I'm not saying that's not possible. It's just that I think that's the less interesting way to go about it. Like, the more interesting way is, being morally gray about it. Because this is not one of those... This is one of those situations where, there can only be a morally gray. There is no good and evil. And, you know... Or you can go the route of The Walking Dead where, like, you know, the humans are the real monsters and all that stuff, you know. That's kind of cliche, but I mean, you know, it still has some truth to it. They went the least interesting way about it, is my problem.
I mean, the first game did sort of touch on that a little bit. Like, there's this one line from Bill where he says that, you know, the zombies, at least those fuckers are predictable. It's the people that I don't trust.
Yeah, and how can you blame them? Yeah.
And interestingly, he also says,
Oh, fuck
he
it.
says, you of all people would know that best, right, Joel? Implying that
Yeah.
maybe Bill has seen Joel do some nasty stuff.
Oh shit. Sorry, I almost died. But yeah, it's making him straight up the villain is just like that's just kind of boring and a little bit. I'm not saying it can't be done. You can do that. You guys kill these splicers, Jesus Christ. Thank you, Mercy. Fuck, 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 fuck. Sorry, I'm like really surrounded. There's a Bastion just murking my entire team, so. Okay, will you kill this fucking Bastion? Jesus Christ. My team is just incapable of killing the Bastion, so. And they're killing the payload. But yeah, I a little bit forgot. But yeah, I just hope the story is. They keep the first game story, but like, the gameplay of the second game. And now my entire team's dead. Well, fuck. Because the second game does play really well, and that was my favorite part of it that made me slog through the fucking story.
But yeah, and I guess one thing that's kind of good is that even if this remake does end up being shit, the first game is still like a very easily accessible game. Like you can get the remastered version on the PS4, and then you can play that version on the PS5 as well. So it's not like that version is going anywhere; it will always be there.
I think that's the only thing I have a question about. Well, Last of Us was already remastered. Well, they're doing a reboot, so I guess they're kind of just like, yeah, the second story was like so bad. We're just gonna pretend it doesn't exist, which maybe that's what they're gonna do. The whole point of the reboot, if they're doing that, yeah, they're just gonna be like, yeah, the second game that was a weird fever dream. He just had a bad dream.
I never really considered it that way. I guess that's possible, but I just kind of feel like I feel like Neil Druckmann is too arrogant to do that. I feel like he's so proud of The Last of Us 2 that he's really going to double down on it and make it so that the first and second one are like even more tightly connected.
Yeah, guys, like, why did you hate Abby so much? I mean, come on, like, she was supposed to be like, you didn't relate to her. Like, they didn't give her the same like arc that Joel did. So, like, maybe if they gave Abby like the same arc that Joel did, I think people would have liked her. But then, like, the first impression you get of her is that she just like caved his head in with a fucking golf club. So there's your first impression of the character you're supposed to like for the rest of the game.
Oh yeah, for sure. There are tons of ways they could have still had Abby kill Joel, but also have her be more sympathetic. Like I remember Jeremy Johns in his spoiler review of The Last of Us 2, he had a really interesting rewrite for the story where at some point, like when you're playing as Ellie, you actually bump into Abby and you become friends with her. And that's
what I wanted to happen, actually. When I played the second game, that's what I thought was going to happen. Like, oh, they're going to join up together, because they're in that scene when they're getting chased by the zombies. They pull down the fence and stuff. When they were in there, I thought, like, oh, they were going to join together and do some stuff. But then they realized, oh, wait, that's the man who killed my father. And then, it'll go downhill from there. And, maybe she'll formulate a plan around it, because she's kind of, like, smart and all that stuff. That's how I thought it was going to go. But then Joel just gives out his name like an idiot, which he would never do, obviously. And all that bullshit.
Yeah, and I definitely think like if you spent a few hours in the game with Abby as your companion, and then she killed Joel, I think the players would feel a lot more conflicted about her rather than just straight up hating her.
Because like, when she's introduced, like they show the flashback of her father dying in front of her, right? They show that flashback like halfway through the game, and I always have to think like Neil Druckmann thought he was a genius, and he was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do what Quentin Tarantino does. We're gonna like show the things out of order, because that's just what it felt like. He just showed the scenes out of order, and he just like thinks it's brilliant. Even though like Quentin Tarantino actually knows what he's doing, Reservoir Dogs actually still makes sense. That's the only problem.
Yeah, and forget what I was. Yeah, so it's like so when she does kill Joel, it's like on one hand the player would be really pissed that she killed their favorite character. But on the other hand, they spent so much time as a player, like bonding with Abby and getting to know her, that they might be willing to understand what she's going through. And it's like they even could like they wouldn't they still could do the thing where like later on, like maybe towards the end of the game, they finally reveal why Abby wanted to kill Joel so bad.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest reason that I hated The Last of Us 2 as much as I did. It's such a waste of potential. It could have been that, like, if I got to be friends with Abby and all that stuff, and we got to know her and stuff, like, know some of her motivations, if she was introduced the same way that she was with Joel, I think she could have easily been the best character in the game. Pretty memorable. You could have felt conflicted about her, because, you kill your favorite character, but, like, again, like, she had her reasons. Joel did kill her father. Admittedly, that felt like it was retconned in there, because they just like, oh, well, we have to make this character exist somehow. We have to make her sympathetic somehow. So we had to do.
Yeah, for sure.
It feels like a giant asshole, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, what's funny about that is it kind of reminded me of the twist at the end of MGS5. Spoilers for the audience if you haven't played.
Yeah.
MGS5, but do you remember how it ends?
I do. I remember the true ending, and I remember the game ending. It depends on which one you're talking about. The true ending?
The true ending, where we find out that Venom Snake wasn't actually Big Boss the whole time.
Yeah, that's the big one.
And so we find out that he was actually the medic in Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes. He was in the helicopter crash with Big Boss. So in Ground Zeroes, we played as the real Big Boss, but then in Phantom Pain, we played as that medic who was turned into like a mental copy of Big Boss.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid is nutty.
Yeah, that I'm not even really a big fan of that twist, but I guess my point was that it kind of felt like Neil Druckmann was almost ripping that off. It's like, oh, remember this random little side character? They're even both medical professionals.
Now that you say it, I think that MGS5 twist was like a little too ridiculous. I know Metal Gear Solid is pretty ridiculous, but that's a little bit too ridiculous, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. It's like remember this random doctor character that was in the previous game? He's actually way more important than you thought. Although at least with MGS5, it was definitely planned from the beginning. There's a cool little hint in Ground Zeroes where you can actually hear the medic talk a few lines, and I think it's like if you raise the pitch of his voice, you find out that it's actually Kiefer Sutherland playing it, who also plays Venom Snake.
Oh, that's interesting. I actually didn't know that.
So it clearly was planned out, whereas with The Last of Us, I definitely think it was a retcon. I don't think that they planned it since the first game. I don't even know if they were planning on doing a second game at all.
They really weren't, and that's how it felt to me, and that's one of the big reasons I was just like, I hate unnecessary sequels, and that's what Last of Us 2 pretty much was in its entirety. It was an unnecessary sequel that really, people like the game, but I don't think it needed a sequel.
Yeah, for sure.
It was a perfect game on its own. Perfect, I mean, it was a good game. It was a really good game. I liked it for, the apocalypse setting and, the unique zombie enemy stuff. They're pretty cool. Flower plant life. It's kind of they're basically just zombies, but, I still think it does what it does really well. It's a successful game that, unfortunately, it felt like the sequel was just entirely unnecessary and nobody asked for it, but they wanted more money, so there you go.
Yeah.
And Neil Druckmann is weirdly defensive about it, also.
Yeah, it's like, to a certain extent, I can understand being defensive over, a piece of art that you worked on for so many years, but definitely, to this point where he is, it just seems very unprofessional. People are not going to like, not everyone is going to like your art, and that's just kind of a fact. In high school, I actually made some short films that were featured in my school's film festival. And I remember before we premiered them, I was super scared of what people were going to think of it.
Oh, yeah. That's how I think of my YouTube channel as well. And actually, fun fact, my longest time subscribers would know this, but I actually created a game before. It's actually on Steam, and I had that exact same feeling that you're talking about. So believe me, I can relate to it.
Yeah, I think I've actually heard of your game. I think I saw you mention it in one of your older videos. What was it called again?
Another World. Another underscore world. It was kind of techno Silent Hill, because I love Silent Hill to death. So I made a game kind of like it. It's not very good. I'm just fair to admit, yeah, it's not very good. But I tried, and I'm actually making another one too. I'm making I am kind of like gonna make a second game that's kind of still has the same concept and stuff. But yeah, but no, basically what I mean is I relate to everything you're saying.
Yeah, I don't think my movies were great either, although I'm definitely still proud of the work that I put into it, and I hope that, I think they turned out, better than they should have, honestly, because I made them pretty much by myself, and
that's something to be proud of.
On a very low budget. I just hope that at some point maybe I get the chance to do more short films and do better. Or at least maybe write a book. I've really been wanting to write a book lately, but I'm just too darn lazy.
Southpaw was talking about writing a book too.
Yeah, he's writing a series actually.
Oh yeah, and it sounds like it'll be really super good because it sounds like some books that I've been writing. I've taken creative writing, so I know my stuff. And yeah, he's got a really good fleshed out idea for it, and I think that'll work in the series.
Yeah, for sure.
At least how he described it to me. Either that. Okay, we actually got past this section. That's good. And I'm playing a pretty mediocre Echo, so that's good. But either way, the remake that I think I mentioned to you, the one that I say probably boils my piss just as much as the Disney remake is RoboCop.
Yeah, I've never actually seen the RoboCop remake, and I'm not even that familiar with the original. I know I've definitely seen it at some point, but I don't remember it. So tell us what happened. What is wrong with the remake? I know that it's PG-13, whereas I think the original was R.
Like they did with Aliens vs. Predator. And it really doesn't work with RoboCop. It's a police officer being blown apart and, basically recreated as a robot, where basically, he's just a killing machine with no emotion. But, the thing that made the original RoboCop good was, the humanity of, this man who's essentially a killing machine. He was built to be, just a murder machine, but, there's spots of humanity in it. That's a pretty dark subject, especially for PG-13. That's just ridiculous.
I remember in the original movie, didn't he get the absolute shit beat out of him at the beginning of the movie, and that's why he needed to do it. Whereas I remember seeing the trailer, I think he just I think it's just a car bomb or something.
I think so. Admittedly, I haven't seen it in a while. The last time I seen the remake was a few years ago, admittedly. So I don't remember everything about it. I remember we lost the payload. That's what I thought. But yeah, I remember the original movie personally, and it does those things where what remakes movies do? They do they spoof iconic lines from the real movie. It does that at one point. Because you remember, I don't know if you remember this scene or not, but I'd buy that for $1. You remember that? You might know what that is. You might have seen it before. But they so shoehorn it in at some point. It's just said during an announcement and just during a news story. Even though the original RoboCop had this self-satire, GTA kind of satire angle to it, where it's just parodying a super extreme form of society where they have sports where they basically just kill each other and all that kind of stuff. It was one of those commercials was basically it was for a product I don't remember because I'm still on Overwatch, so I'm going to have that brain problem. But basically one of the most iconic lines from the movie is, I'd buy that for $1. But they just shoehorn that in, and that's something that just boils my piss. I just hate it when they like make half-hearted like references to the first movie, but like their movie is just like infinitely worse. Like,
yeah, I remember. This wasn't a remake, but they kind of did that in Terminator Genesis.
Oh my god, yeah.
That piece of shit.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
So the famous "I'll be back" line. I think it's like there's a part where Arnie is jumping out of a helicopter, and he just says they just shoehorn in "I'll be back."
Oh yeah, was it the lady with like the shades on? Was that girl? Was that Dark?
Oh yeah.
Dark
Yeah.
someone.
Sarah Connor also said that in Dark Fate, which I think was the newest one, which I didn't see all of.
Wasn't it like Dark Fate? It was continuing from Terminator 2, right? It was basically a continuance
yeah,
of
they tried to pretend like the other movies, didn't exist because like only the first two are the ones that people actually give a shit about. And so they tried to retcon everything, and they're like, this time we'll get it right. This will be the real Terminator 3, and it was a disaster.
Oh my god. Yeah, and didn't they just basically make Terminator 2 again? But like just different characters. It was just,
something like that. I only watched like the first 20 minutes and then I turned it off.
Yeah, I don't blame you. But actually funny, I actually don't know how to pronounce your name. He's on my he or she. Admittedly, I don't know pronouns. And Andrew Chattis. I don't know how to pronounce that name. I'm sorry if I butchered that. But he actually asked, is Elliot Page going to be recast in the Last of Us games? Do you know that?
Elliot Page?
Yeah, Ellie. It was Ellen Page, but yeah, she's he's transgender, I should say. Again,
he never played Ellie.
Really? Am I reading that right? So is Elliot Page going to be recast if they make more Last of Us games? Was Elliot Page in it? I don't.
She was not, but I remember there was a thing where during the same year The Last of Us came out, a game called Beyond Two Souls came out.
Beyond Two Souls. Oh god. David Cage. David Cage.
Yeah.
David Cage.
Yeah. I both love and hate David Cage games.
Me too. Actually, yeah.
They are some of the most pretentious but also hilarious games ever created.
I think he's the Neil Breen for video games, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think he's the real Neil Breen. But to be honest, the best game by David Cage is definitely Heavy Rain. I think so.
Yeah, probably.
The worst one probably is Beyond Two Souls. So
yeah.
I think the worst one definitely is that. Detroit Become Human was kind of interesting, but it's so ham-fisted in its fucking civil rights. Stupid thing. It's so ham-fisted.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, yeah, I thought there were a lot of interesting concepts, and there were definitely scenes of it that were done pretty well, but yeah, it was super, super ham-fisted, and I don't know, kind of offensive in some ways.
Yeah. Oh boy. I should almost do a series. Like, when I was talking about video games a lot more, when it was not all the Fandom Meta stuff, which the Fandom Meta stuff I enjoy a lot, but like, before on my channel, when I had less than 100 subs, I used to just talk about video games and stuff, and I was considering doing the David Cage's entire chronology, discography. I know they say that for albums, but discography, basically. Basically, if I were to ever talk about gaming, I would want to do the entire chronology of them, because they're just like, I thought Heavy Rain was a decent game. It was still like really funny. Sean Jason.
Yeah, and
Jason.
the optional sex scene was super cringy.
Oh, which
I'm
one?
not sure if you remember that. So I think it was Ethan, the main guy, and then Madison, the girl. There's an optional sex scene, and they kiss each other as if they're like two fishes.
Oh, I remember that.
Together.
Oh my god, I remember that. Oh my god.
And they don't even get like fully naked.
That's really funny.
Even though it's an M-rated game, and they could have. Like she was fully naked at the beginning of the game. There's a part where
what the fuck?
Showering.
Exactly, and they made a big deal out of that. It was, well, to be fair, they did it with Ethan too, so it's not really like just haha. But
yeah, no, Ethan.
It was equality.
Ethan wore underpants actually.
Did he?
Yeah, you don't see his dick.
Well, yeah, I was there. I thought you just see his bare ass and that was it.
I swear, I don't know. Maybe you see his ass, but I'm pretty sure he wears. I'm pretty sure he wears like boxers every time he's naked in that game.
Really? Maybe I did. I played Heavy Rain years ago, so yeah,
So
maybe I'm remembering that
They were
wrong.
not bold enough to show a fully nude man.
Yeah, that would be progressive for video games, actually. Because, naked women, nothing. That's like nothing sexual in video games. But, like, yeah, they do a naked man. I mean, yeah, that's pretty controversial. But I'm not gay, bro, I'm not gay. I'm not gay. Okay, bro, I look for like a second, bro. What was I trying to do there? Oh, shit.
I think the only game I can think of where so I know in Death Stranding the main character gets naked a lot. Although in that you never see his dick. But
Norman
you see his ass a lot.
Oh, Norman Reedus?
Yeah.
Kind of Norman Reedus. He has Sam, I think. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
actually, admittedly, I haven't played Death Stranding, so I have no idea.
I actually consider myself to be like the biggest fan in the world of Death Stranding. Like I love that game.
I've heard. I read. I watched a video by someone called Folding Ideas. I think he's called the Foldable Human. He did a whole hour-long video on Death Stranding, how he's like biking across the country and how Death Stranding reminds him of that. And I think I could see the appeal of that.
Yeah, it's definitely not a game for everyone. Like the gameplay is very niche. It has a big focus on traversal mechanics and like walking and climbing and hiking. But I think I think if you go into it with an open mind, it's definitely a very unique experience, and it was very refreshing to me. Because I remember around that time I was kind of feeling like, all the games I was playing were starting to blur together, so it was kind of cool seeing like such a new experimental game that was doing so many new things. It kind of like refreshed me on video games.
You want to know one of my most played games on Steam right now? It's actually American Truck Simulator. I shit you not.
Yeah, I've actually heard a lot of people compare Death Stranding to Truck Simulator.
It's got a lot of similarities. That's immediately what it reminds me of. And I'm a big fan of like those kind of games because like I could watch a lot of podcasts on it. And like I have a wheel for it. I have a G29. Admittedly, I don't use it a whole lot, but like yeah, I do it specifically for that because it was just that enjoyable. I was driving with a keyboard before, and that was something.
Yeah, there's something weirdly cathartic in Death Stranding about delivering packages. Because, for some of the missions, they make the journey so tough that when you finally get there, you feel so relieved. And I just think it's really interesting how, like, I've never really had to, like, think about, like, walking in video games. It's just kind of something you do, like, you just kind of push the left stick and you go,
Yeah.
Whereas, like, with Death Stranding, you have to pay attention to, like, every surface you're walking on, and you have to, like, really make sure that you're doing something that will help you get the cargo safely to the destination.
That's what sounds really cool about it. See, that would appeal to me because I'm kind of strange. Like, one of my favorite games of all time is, like, Silent Hill. People are very iffy about horror games, but, like, Silent Hill does horror the best in video games.
For sure. I love Silent Hill too. Yeah, I've only played the first two. I still need to play 3.
Yeah, Silent Hill 3 is also regarded as pretty good. I never played Silent Hill 3 either, admittedly.
I've always kind of heard mixed things about Silent Hill 3. Like, I usually hear people say that it is a good game, just maybe not quite as good as 2. Although 2 is definitely a tough act to follow.
Heather doesn't really stack up to James Sunderland, not really. So that would be my opinion, at least from what I've seen of Silent Hill 3. And again, I don't know a ton about it, but Heather never really. I still like the lore of Silent Hill because they still have a lot of those interesting themes and stuff. I like that. All that stuff is still there, but like Heather doesn't really stack up to James. James was such a conflicting character. He was a well-written character. Like, he was really good. You don't actually start, like, feeling weird about James until about like halfway through the game. You know, when the you know, I don't know whether it's spoiler or not, but yeah, when he kills his wife. But you played it. Yeah.
Yeah, I played it.
Yeah, when you start questioning, that's the one moment where you start really questioning the main character. It's kind of like, you know, you've been questioning stuff up to this point. And Silent Hill, how Silent Hill works and all that stuff. And I think it's beautifully conveyed in the game. It's like story and gameplay go so well together in Silent Hill.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. Like, now that I think about it, when I first played Silent Hill 2, like, I didn't suspect that that there was something wrong with James. Well, I mean, I kind of thought like there was maybe something wrong, but I didn't think like he did something as horrible as murder his wife.
Yeah, admittedly, you wouldn't know.
Yeah, he just kind of seemed like a normal, you know, decent dude.
Yeah, admittedly, but then when it goes through, like, you see him, like, strangling her with a pillow. You know, one of his big character things was, like, his libido, because a lot of the monsters do resemble, like, you know, sexual stuff, and Silent Hill gets into the mind of whoever sees it. Like, you see different things, you know, depending on, like, your sins and all that stuff. You know, you start to see yourself, and Pyramid Head, of course, is one of those things. The Pyramid Head was... The consensus from the Silent Hill fan base is that the Pyramid Head is the executioner. He's like he's supposed to be like redemption. He's supposed to be like the James's a manifestation of like James's crime, his big crime, at least as far as I can explain it. The best way that I can explain it on the spot.
Yeah, I think I've heard theories that that Pyramid Head might have been trying to help James throughout the whole game.
There was those two Pyramid Heads I remember that stabbed themselves at the end, and I think that was you have a boss battle with them, and I think they just kind of kill themselves. And like Pyramid Head attacks you the first time you see him. You know, he's in the hallway, and you know, it's a very iconic thing. You see him in the hallway, he's just standing there. You go into a room, you come out, and he's gone. You know, really scary, really great way to set up a villain, and you don't even see him. Like you don't even like. The first time you see Pyramid Head, that was like a really subtle but very good way of introducing him. You know, he's just there, then he's gone. And then he just shows up in a room, but like, you know, he does try to kill him for sure, but then like, at some point you just damage him enough and he leaves, and it's kind of like, weird stuff.
And I think the two Pyramid Heads killing themselves, I think that was symbolic of James accepting what he did.
Yeah, more or less that's what I was kind of getting from him when I was going around. Silent Hill was one of those only games that I actually went to fan forums for. You know, I never did that with any other game. You know, it's kind of like, I like lore and stuff, and I kind of do it with Overwatch. I know a little bit about Overwatch, so that's what I was.
So I don't know. Have you ever heard of a YouTuber named The Gaming Brit?
I've heard of that one, yeah.
So he did a great video that was a story analysis of Silent Hill 2, and I'm trying to remember. I think that was his explanation for the two Pyramid Heads, was that it was him accepting his guilt or something. But I don't know. I definitely want to watch that video again, because I think he did a great job at explaining and theorizing what it all means.
Oh yeah, I could have swore I think I saw that video, but yeah, that was a while ago. I remember it being really good too, but I'll have to watch it again. But since we're also supposed to be talking about remakes, so we go on all kinds of stuff, but that's okay. You know, that's kind of what a podcast is. That's kind of just what happens. The Silent Hill remakes. Oh my god.
Oh, the HD version.
The HD version remakes. Jesus God. Kill me now if you want me to talk about the Silent Hill, the remakes of Silent Hill 2 and 3.
Yeah, I would again kind of consider those in the league of remasters, but I mean, really what they are is demakes, because they make the game so much worse.
Like, they openly admitted, like, they didn't have the starting code because Konami is Konami. They don't even have, like, the original code for the game, because it's a weird quirk with Japanese developers. They tend to just throw out stuff because like they don't really view video games as kind of art thing. They don't want to preserve it at all. That's just Japanese, how the Japanese have always done it. So it's a weird tradition thing. But yeah, they don't even have original code for it, and I'm just like, they had to remake it from scratch. And like the fog looks like really fucking bad, if there even is any fog. I think a lot of it was taken out, and a lot of that was just. Or looked like shit, really.
I kind of forgot about it. I guess in a way it kind of is a remake. Since they didn't just simply, they weren't able to just simply port over the original game. They had to redo a ton of things.
Yeah, they're remaking from scratch, essentially. And, you know, that's expensive for a gaming studio. Yeah, they can't just afford to do that, really. So, like, it's only going to be, like, yeah, and I remember, from what I do remember, the voice acting was, like, the voice acting was never actually good in Silent Hill. It was always pretty forced sounding, but, like, you know, I think the original voice actors, they didn't have all the original voice lines, so it had to be dubbed over on certain scenes, and it gets really noticeable in certain places.
Yeah, I think I've heard theories that the voice acting was kind of intentionally off-putting.
That would make sense, actually. So.
I think it was actually the Gaming Brit that said that in his video. Basically, his theory was that, you know, pretty much all the characters in the game have some sort of, they have something wrong with them. There's some sort of, like, mental illness or some sort of bad deed that they've committed, and I think the voice acting was supposed to kind of make them seem like almost like kind of disconnected from reality and from society.
Yeah, if you remember Angela from Silent Hill 2, like the first time you meet Angela, yeah, she does come off as like really like super weird, like when you first meet her, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, later she does have a lot of fucked up things wrong. You know, she tried. I think her backstory is that she saw her. She like witnessed. She was really abused as a child and all that stuff, and she has fostered thoughts of suicide. And you see her with a knife. And there's the Easter egg where if you look at the knife too many times, James kills himself at the end of the game. I think at the end of the game, or if you just look at it too many times in the inventory. I'm just like, that's pretty nutty. But yeah, Angela really does like give you that vibe, and I think it works perfectly with Silent Hill, and I could buy that for a lore reason.
Yeah, I was so fascinated by Angela. She was the character that I was interested the most in this one, because she just had such a weird, awkward presence to her in the first scene you meet her in. It really kind of gives you it kind of I'm trying to think.
And James was really that way too. I'm not James. I mean Eddie. That was.
Oh yeah, Eddie, the fat guy. He was super creepy.
Yeah, and you know he later comes back for a boss battle. So yeah, you know he's just eventually like he acts kind of differently than he did before. He was a scared guy just throwing up in the toilet. Oh god, like they think I didn't do it, and all that shit, you know. But then he comes back and he's just like, yeah, he just wants to kill James, and it's like. Yeah, he seems to have kind of flipped, but yeah, there was something up with Eddie. You could definitely just tell that, not only from just playing the game, but like how he sounds in general. I actually like that change a lot. That's why I don't like knock Silent Hill for having bad voice acting, because I think that was kind of intentional.
Yeah, I definitely think it adds to the scenes in a certain way. Like I really like when you first meet Angela, she says, "I'm looking for my mama. I mean, my mom." It's just like such a weird
like that?
line delivery, but it gets you so intrigued. You're just wondering, like, what the hell is up with this character? Like, I want to know more about her.
And then you hear in Silent Hill 1, like, the first thing you hear from Henry is like, "My daughter. I have to go find her."
Yeah.
My daughter. It was Henry, right? Or am I getting his name wrong? Harry. It was Harry.
Harry Mason.
Harry Mason. And which Heather is related to in Silent Hill 3. So I thought that was kind of cool, because Silent Hill 3, weirdly, is like a sequel to Silent Hill 1. I know the chronology is really weird. And Silent Hill 2 has nothing to do with Silent Hill 1, which is kind of strange, but like that goes with it.
Yeah, Silent Hill 2 felt like a standalone story, but I've heard that if you play all of the first 4 games, there actually is like somewhat of a connected story between them.
I think a lot of the lore transfers from game to game.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like, and actually, I think the newer games reference some of the old games. I think in Silent Hill 4 they have a reference to James. I'm pretty sure. I'm not remembering it correctly because, yeah, again, Overwatch. But yeah, I'm pretty sure like they referenced James Sunderland at some point. Like, you remember the one where the Easter egg where it's actually James in the chair when you go by the TV and you get the flashlight, the guy in the chair, and James acknowledges him. And it turns out that's actually his model. I'm sure you know that Easter egg. I thought they had a reference to that at some point.
Which game was this in?
That was Silent Hill 2. Where they had the body in the chair that James acknowledges, but then it turns out the character model is basically James, and I was like, I think they just used that model. It wasn't meant to be him, but like lore-wise, that was a little nutty.
Yeah, I think I do remember that. I think there were theories about that actually meaning something deeper, but I don't remember. Like that it actually was intentional that they used James's character model for that. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm gonna have to go back and do some more research on Silent Hill lore. It's such a fascinating universe. I really love it.
Yeah, and I think in the first game, I think what they were originally going to do is have James, have his wife Mary in the trunk of the car. Like that's something you could find out. I think like they opened it and there was nothing in there, but like I almost thought there was the Easter egg where it had like there's a body in the trunk of James's car, and it's supposed to be Mary. So yeah, I thought like that would be super cool. I can't remember if that was actually lore or not, or if that was a fan theory. I think they, like, hackers went through the game and they decompiled it. And yeah, Mary wasn't in the trunk, but like, I can't remember if that was a fan theory or not. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Thank you, Miss. Thank you, Mercy. Shit.
I definitely think you should try. Death Stranding at some point. It also has an extremely interesting world and lore.
Yeah, it sure sounds like it has Norman Reedus in it, and I wanted Silent Hills, but we never got that. Oh yeah, Silent Hills. That was also going to be a reboot. There you go.
Yeah, that was Hideo Kojima's reboot. I'm so bummed that was canceled.
And yeah, let me tell you what, I have never wanted to research a game so much than Silent Hills. Like, I knew the whole lore behind the thing. I knew all the Easter eggs and stuff. That was just such a good game, and I saw like the canonical ending to it and how weird what you had to do to get the ending was and all that stuff. It's just like Silent Hills would have been so amazing.
Yeah.
But it's gone forever because well, I think it had a lot to do with disputes with Hideo Kojima and like the fact that he was like the sales have been going down ever since he was vice president and all that stuff. There's a big fucking legal battle when it comes to Konami. Konami is just as strange as the Silent Hill world is, like, fittingly.
Yeah, for sure. And there was this one video I watched. It was like right before Death Stranding came out. I'm on YouTube right now, and I'm trying to find it so I can recommend you the video because it goes into a lot of depth about what happened between. Or at least what might have happened between Kojima and Konami and with the Silent Hills project.
Was it by a channel called The Great Debate?
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah, I've seen the video. One of the best videos I've seen from them was actually a very recent one. They were talking about like how PT was actually Kojima's big diss track towards Konami. How they're basically killing his babies, because Lisa has the dead baby in her stomach. She was shot in the stomach, all that stuff, and that was supposed to represent Silent Hills, which Kojima really loved, but like Konami just didn't care for. They made pachinko machines out of it and shit like that.
Yeah, it was that was definitely the most fascinating thing about the video to me, like the idea that PT, the whole demo game experience of PT is actually a giant fuck you to Konami. And if that's true, that actually does make a lot of sense why it was delisted from the PlayStation Store and why you can't download it anymore.
I remember when PS4s were going for $500 with PT installed on it.
Yeah, I actually still do have a PS4 with PT installed on it.
Oh my god! Like I would have paid that too, to be honest. I would have paid $500. It's fucking PT. It's never gonna happen again. So like, man, some people on eBay made a fucking steal. Let me tell you what.
Yeah.
So yeah, Silent Hills was just like one of the most brilliant things I've ever played. I learned all the lore behind it. You know, getting shot in the stomach, the radio announcer. In fact, like the game I wanted to make also had like radio announcer kind of stuff in it because I really loved that aspect of it, and I think that's like a super creepy way to tell a story too. I wanted my game to actually tell its entire story through like radio transmission. It's like sci-fi Silent Hill kind of sort of. It's like futuristic Silent Hill kind of thing. It's hard to explain, but yeah. I'm working on it again in Unreal Engine 4 because I know I actually know how to use that. So, you know, maybe I'll make the next PT. Who the fuck knows? That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool, I guess.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just super fascinating, like how as the way most people interpret it is that basically it's a game about a father who murdered his family and then killed himself, and now he's trapped in like his own personal hell, just looping through this hallway over and over and reliving the final day of his life.
One of the best, most effective things that got to me is when you reach the refrigerator and it's just like filled and gushing with blood, and you just hear the radio transmitter just saying, and he hung himself with a garden hose he found in the garage. And it's just like, you just seeing that, you hear the baby crying on the inside, and it gets just more intense as you go. That was the best part of the game. And like, oh my god, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
One of the most brilliant things I've witnessed. One of the most brilliant parts of like any game. It got up there with Silent Hill 2 levels of creepiness. It was that level. Sorry, I'm playing Sigma now, so I actually have to worry about putting barriers down.
Yeah, I definitely hope that at some point Kojima does make some kind of horror game, even if it has nothing to do with Silent Hill. I just think he would be really good at it.
I think I saw there was like, oh god, I'm losing frames. Oh shit. Thank you. For some reason I'm getting really low frame rate. I don't know why. Nope. Okay, fine. 144. So there was like, I think it was a fan Silent Hill game that like they had this kind of weird trailer for it that wasn't quite Silent Hill, but like it had a very like fan made feel to it. God, I wish I remembered what it was. I wish I remembered exactly what it was. It was kind of like I think it was Guillermo del Toro who like had some kind of trailer for it, that really weird looking trailer. It was really experimental. It had a bunch of fucking worm things in it. It had like that weird room in it. You know, it's really hard to explain. I don't remember fully, but there was like a almost Silent Hill fan trailer kind of thing. And right after Silent Hills was canceled.
Yeah, I think I remember what you're talking about. And I don't know, we might be thinking of two different things, but I think it was like an actual trailer for Silent Hills.
Yeah, no, she goes, oh god, it's an assassin. Don't come after me. Oh, the assassin's stuck. Yes.
Like, I'm actually gonna look that up because I think I do remember this.
Yeah, I wish I could remember exactly what the name was and all that stuff, but yeah, I remember like there was that trailer thing that they said like it was right after PT was canceled, and they said, oh, it's coming back. You know, they're gonna have something new. It's an assassin. Get out of here. But yeah, definitely Overwatch is not helping at this point. But
okay, yeah, I think we might actually be thinking about this thing. So there's this video on YouTube. It's on. I'm looking at it on the GameSpot YouTube channel, and it's a little trailer that was released after PT and before Silent Hills was canceled.
That might be the one.
So there's someone walking in the hall, and there's a little purple ball.
Yes, that's the one.
Oh yeah, and then it bumps open a door.
Yeah, that's definitely the one. Yeah, I remember that one. I don't know if that was like an announced game or not. I don't think it was.
I think it actually was. I think this actually is supposed to be an actual trailer for Silent Hills, and I remember in the Great Debates video on it, he pointed out how it seems to be very different from, like, it definitely has similar ideas because they both have like a creepy hallway, but it seems very different from PT, and so his theory is that this trailer was originally supposed to be the demo that we would have played for Silent Hills, but then all the shit with Konami happened, and he ended up altering his demo into the PT that we actually got, so that it more closely resembled his experience with Konami.
Yeah, which actually, that makes a lot of sense, because those two trailers are like totally different games. Like, completely different. That was good, but at least I'm glad I thought about I'm glad we got around to the Silent Hill remakes, because that actually perfectly fits. Because, like, sometimes, I think that shows the dichotomy of sometimes remakes and remasters are pretty good. We're, like, objectively good of stuff. At the same time, though, they can be pretty lazy, where it's just like, yeah, we're remaking an old thing people like. People like this once, right? We're cool kids, and we're going to update it for the times and stuff. But they do it in that kind of cringy way where they make offhanded references to the first game, but it's like, hey, we're cooler, right? Well, not really. Or like they totally balls it up like Silent Hill remakes.
Yeah.
That's more or less what I think my overarching opinion wanted to be on it, was that, yeah, sometimes they just completely shit the bed. Other times they preserve an already great game and just make it a little bit more modern with more up-to-date features, which really, I don't know if that's going to stick around, because games can just be patched now. You can basically just patch in an entire new game, like what they did with Destiny 2, to be honest. You could just do that. So I don't know. They can do it for a marketing campaign, because nobody's going to play like a patch of a new game instead of just a new game in general. So maybe they'll stay with the times. Who knows?
Yeah, and I think what I mainly wanted to say about remakes is that there's a very different thing with like remaking a movie compared to a game. So like watching a movie and playing a game are completely different experiences.
Exactly.
Because obviously a video game is a very interactive thing. It's like, so for example, the original Lion King and then the Lion King remake. The Lion King remake is so identical to the original, but it's so shitty. It's so much shittier in like every other way, and like
it's also live action, so it's shit by default.
And like I can still easily watch the original Lion King like just fine. Like it's a perfectly acceptable movie, and I think that the art style still looks incredible today. Whereas like even like some of my favorite like older video games, like they can sometimes be kind of tough to play with like the clunkier controls, especially.
Oh, like some of the good remakes or some of the really old games. Like I would say, if they ever remade something like Thief 2, The Metal Age. I don't know if you ever played that game, but it's a super good stealth game. Sometimes they'll do that for them and just overall make the gameplay better. Just preserving old games that are all really good. If it makes any sense, because I'm trying to play Zenyatta, so I have to actually think to play Zenyatta.
But yeah, there's definitely been a decent amount of video game remakes that I've enjoyed, but I can't think of like almost any like movie remakes that I enjoy.
Yeah, the remakes I could say I probably hate the most are the ones that completely piss on the original. But the ones I could say that are arguably just as bad are the ones that just do it without like changing anything, or like they just have pointless. Where it's just like overall it's just pointless. I think the pointless remakes are the ones that disappoint me. That I think are pretty bad, if that makes sense.
Like for movies.
Yeah, more or less one of the ones when it's pointless, like nobody really asked for it to be remade. It's kind of, like I think Fahrenheit Indigo Prophecy is probably a good example. Like the game had to be remastered. It more or less looks the same. It's just like the remaster just doesn't really do anything with it. It doesn't add anything new. It just kind of just, hey, it's this again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like they're not as bad as like one that completely pisses on the original game, but yeah, you know it is. Oh my god, what is going on here?
Yeah, I think one remake that I would say is probably worse, at least to me, I think is worse than the original is Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes.
Oh yeah, was that the remake of the first game?
Yeah, it was a remake of the first game for the GameCube, and it's weird because it's almost like it's in a similar situation to The Last of Us. I completely forgot to talk about this earlier, but a lot of people are pissed that The Last of Us is getting a remake so soon, because the first game came out in 2013, which is like 8 years ago.
Yeah, I did find that kind of weird, so yeah.
I think for me, I think like maybe like 10 years is a decent amount of time to do a remake. Like I think the Shadow of the Colossus remake came out like 13 years after the original, which I think is a good amount of time because, you know, throughout that there had been, you know, it came out 2 generations after the original, and, you know, technology had progressed so much that they really could make a huge improvement to the graphics.
Yeah, because games like from the 90s that are like, you know, remastered to early 2000s, like Grim Fandango, for example. Grim Fandango is a super good Tim Schafer game. You know, that game deserved a remake, and yeah, I got it. It was really good. It's kind of point-and-click adventure game, really good.
So the Metal Gear Solid remake. So basically, what they did was they kept the same story and the same level design and the same setting and everything from the first game, but they basically injected it with MGS2's graphics engine and the new gameplay mechanics that were introduced in MGS2. And like at first you think like that's a great idea because, you know, MGS2 has way better mechanics than MGS1. Like they introduced first-person aiming, the ability to hide unconscious and dead enemies in lockers, and all kinds of cool things that really expanded on it. But it's like the original level designs of MGS1 were never designed with those mechanics in mind.
Yeah, I see.
And so some of those mechanics like completely broke the game and made it way easier than the first game.
Yeah, because I think that was because people do formulate games. I mean, like, okay, how am I gonna put this? They make games like based on limitations. Because back in the '90s, like the first Metal Gear Solid was made back in the '90s, so it's like, gonna have some quirks about it, and they balance around that. Game developers have to balance around their limitations. That's what the good ones always do. So yeah, once you start adding like more modern stuff, that could just totally ruin the game. Like, yeah. But yeah, like I was always gonna make a comparison, but like I can't do that and play Zenyatta at the same time.
Yeah,
enough time.
And I think the thing that was even worse about Twin Snakes though is that they redid all of the cutscenes, and basically all of the story beats and most of the dialogue is the same, but the voice acting is so much worse.
Yeah, David Hayter, Metal Gear.
It's like they got all of the same voice actors from the first game, and I think the first MGS has like some of the best voice acting in the series. Like I think David Hayter's voice for me was the best in the first game because it was a little bit more gruff. It wasn't quite as I don't know, it kind of got a bit sillier in the later ones, like a little bit more over the top.
Right, yeah. That's the first time they ever had, like, well, in the 90s, 3D animated cutscenes were the shit, so Metal Gear Solid was, like, really iconic because of that.
Yeah, and I remember a lot of games in the 90s were using FMV cutscenes, like pre-rendered CGI cutscenes that look nothing like the game, whereas Metal Gear Solid used real-time cutscenes, so it fit a lot better within the game. It didn't feel like you were switching back and forth between two completely different things.
Yeah. I remember. Like, I had a PS1 a while ago, but like the first Metal Gear Solid I actually haven't played. Just to be real, like the Twin Snakes I know was a remake of the first game because I remember seeing a review of that. Yeah, FMV. I remember FMV were kind of one of those weird charms of the '90s games. Like, whenever you see FMV cutscenes, they're always like really weird looking, but like they had a story to the game. And they're iconic for that reason, if anything.
Oh yeah, I really like FMVs. I think they're cool. I just think I just kind of prefer the way MGS did it, where the cutscenes look just like the gameplay. It kind of makes it feel more seamless and more grounded, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if you've seen Final Fantasy VII cutscenes, yeah, there's just like there's two different games. Like you see Cloud's blocky ass head; he looks like a rectangle.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it does kind of create a bit of a disconnect, and Final Fantasy VII is another one of my favorite games. And I think
which also got remade, by the way. That's why I brought it up. Haha.
Yeah. I wanted to bring that up too because I've also played the remake of that, and so that is very different from the other remakes I've been talking about, like Demon Souls and Shadow of the Colossus, and even like the the Crash Bandicoot and Spyro remakes that came out a couple years ago. So those all basically they all kind of preserve the original experience while making it a bit more modern. Whereas the Final Fantasy VII remake is basically like a new experience. Like it really is like a remake to the fullest extent. Like it has a completely different battle system, a completely different camera system. Tons of new scenes. It has voice acting now. It has gorgeous graphics. It's like a whole new experience that has like visual and story similarities to the original game.
Yeah, and actually I wanted to play that again because like Final Fantasy, my only experiences with Final Fantasy have been Final Fantasy 14 Online, and it's a game that actually came back from the dead. Originally it was just like totally broken online game, but then like I totally came back, and my best friend likes MMOs to death. He loves World of Warcraft a lot. Okay, I gotta tranquil this fucking heavy assault. There we go.
Yeah, and I think usually I would say I kind of prefer the sort of like Demon Souls style remake where it like mostly tries to stay faithful, but I did also really like the Final Fantasy VII remake. I thought it was a cool new take on such a classic and iconic game. Like I don't think I would say that I prefer it over the original game, but I'm perfectly fine with it existing, and I really enjoyed the battle system. I'm more of a real-time action kind of guy rather than like a turn-based RPG kind of guy.
Did it have like the Final Fantasy 13 kind of battle system where it's like real time but it's also turn-based a little bit? It had cooldowns and all that stuff. I don't remember entirely what the remake was because again I haven't played the Final Fantasy 7 remake. So back up. You're gonna die. Okay.
Yeah, it's more real time than Final Fantasy 13. Although I haven't really played very much of Final Fantasy 13, so I don't really remember exactly what the combat was like in that. But basically, it's like in 7 Remake, anytime you press square, like Cloud will swing his sword. You don't have to like wait for his sword attack to come back or anything like that.
Oh, I see. Oh, so it is kind of real time mixed with some turn-based abilities, like turn-based cooldown kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's like you always have access to like basic character attacks. You can play as Cloud, Barret, Tifa, and Aerith, and they each have like their own unique sets. But then, if you want to use like some of the more powerful and advanced things like spells or like some of Cloud's heavier attacks, you have to build up these little meters, and then you can activate a thing called tactical mode, which is where you temporarily freeze the game, and then it pulls up like a little turn-based menu where you can select which super attack you want to do.
Oh yeah, that's not bad.
But yeah, I think it's a really cool system. I think it's definitely a better mix of turn-based and real-time than FF13 was.
Oh yeah, because I remember that was like one of the big things where people said Final Fantasy 13, oh, it gets good like 30 hours in, but it's just like, I don't think that's really a good thing, to be honest. Like, in terms of like
I've always heard that too.
It's not really an MMO. I mean, like, really, it's a straight JRPG. Like, you know, the JRPGs can last you like 50, 60, 70 years, 70 hours, not 70 years. Christ.
70 years. Oh my god.
70 years. It feels like 70 years. But yeah, again, Overwatch brain. But yeah, they feel like they're that long for sure. But oh god, get that shotgun out of my face.
There should be like a meme that's like, this is your brain on Overwatch.
This is your brain on Zenyatta right now. God, yeah. I have to focus on Discord. So see, I have to Discord enemies. I have to heal my teammates. I got Anna here too, so she's helping me. But like, I have to Discord enemies, like, because we can only attack one enemy at a time. Because every time you attack two different enemies, it heals them. So we gotta focus down one enemy. So that's why I'm using Zenyatta, so I can Discord. Oh, we're gonna fucking die here.
You've got Anna, that Star Wars girl, with you?
I guess so. Well, we have the Anna that doesn't suck, so yeah. Yeah, she actually doesn't say something stupid every 10 seconds too. I remember her saying that like that Dune ripped off Star Wars, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Dune ripped off Star Wars. That's pretty funny.
Like the original book.
I think that's what she was talking about.
Or like the new movie that's coming out later this year.
I think that was the new Dune. Yeah, that's what she was going on about. It's just like, well, Dune is an obvious ripoff of Star Wars, and I'm just like, I mean, I know you're that Star Wars girl, and you got a rep for Star Wars, but I mean, geez.
But I'm pretty sure if she is talking about the movie, I could maybe see that. But if she's talking about if she's also talking about the original book being a ripoff, then she's wrong, because I'm pretty sure the book came out before Star Wars.
Like, the most egregious one of all, I would say, is when she was talking about one Star Wars comic, you know, he was choking, Han Solo was choking Leia, kind of thing, and it was just like, oh yeah, this is just like propaganda, oh, you can just hate men all you want, it's just like, you know, typical standard fandom menace outrage bullshit. And it's just like, that was really funny, because she didn't actually read that she didn't even actually read that comic, and she's that Star Wars girl. I just find that funny.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. I don't think I've ever heard of that before. I definitely don't like the idea of Han Solo strangling Leia, but I don't know, maybe in the context of the book, they kind of make it work.
Yeah, the context was that they were supposed to sneak their way onto an enemy ship, I think, and they had to fake, like, an encounter, and to maybe get guards' attention. I think that was, I mean, I don't remember the entire context, but it was something along those lines. But she was just like, to Disney Star Wars, it's perfectly okay to just strangle men, and that's okay. Oh, but Lord knows if that was a woman, you know, that typical bullshit. It's just like,
wait, it was Leia strangling Han? Then?
No, Han Solo, sorry. It was Han Solo strangling Leia, but it was like meant to be a diversion. That's the context of it.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say, yeah.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean. I think, I guess maybe she was viewing it as, like, demonizing men in general or something.
Yeah, they gotta have that narrative that Disney Star Wars is just the worst thing to ever happen to the world. Even though, well, you know, I don't entirely disagree. It's pretty shitty, but, like...
Yeah.
You know, Disney Star Wars is just not the best, but, like, you know, these big evil motherfuckers, like, nah. That's still a too outrage culture for me.
Yeah, and, so, I've actually been meaning to ask you this, so I actually went back and,
he's gonna kill me.
I went back and rewatched, the EFAP stream that you went on.
Oh yeah, for the 40-minute one.
Yeah, so, man, I don't know, there was something about, the way the way that Anna talked to you at certain points, that kind of rubbed me the wrong way a bit.
Yeah, she tried to act like super pretentious. She's just like, I remember her acting really snotty. That was the thing that really made me laugh. It was just kind of like, oh, did we actually win this battle? Oh shit. Well, like one of the things I remembered is some of the people, like some of her, like I don't want to say Sims, but they were kind of like, they were definitely fans of her. And saying Sims is kind of reductive. But they made a meme about saying like, well, I'm actually a woman, so I know something about sexual assault. Like, bitch, don't you know I'm a girl too? Like,
yeah, that's
like
what,
that was the one where I was about to say, bitch, please, but I couldn't. I didn't want to say that because I was on shaky ground there to begin with. So starting a fight is gonna make me look really fucking bad.
Yeah, I really wanted you to say that, but I kind of get why you wouldn't. And it's like the rest of the people on that panel were pretty nice to you. Like even Rags was fairly civil, even though it was his video being critiqued by you. But Anna just seemed like she was.
I think she knew.
More like.
Here's the thing. I think she knew who I was before I even came in. That's why she was there in the first place. I think that was why, because she knows who I am, and those guys don't really. So that's my theory anyway. I don't know that for sure. Maybe I'll watch that E5 again.
I'm not sure if she did, because I think I remember seeing a tweet with her after the stream where she found out who you were. I think she
Oh yeah, she had that one tweet. Brodan actually sent that to me, one of my friends, and he just said like, yeah, apparently she made a 40-minute video. Hey, I think she tried to misgender me. I don't remember.
Yeah, but she probably did.
Yeah, because that's just a Phantom Menace making themselves look good as always. But. Yeah, she basically said that, making a 40-minute video how bad I am. And it's well, not really. I mean, that's not all I do. Like, I talk about a video, and I basically give my opinion on it. And, not all of it was negative. I said that Anna was a great artist, and I still believe that to this day. But, like, yeah, her going on about, like, her hate boner for Brie Larson was, like, pretty fucking strong.
Yeah, I've watched your videos about Anna, and I don't think either of them were particularly harsh. I think they were pretty fair.
I think I mostly try to go in as a person who, okay, I've never seen this person, I don't know much about them, so I'm going to learn something. That's the attitude I've been trying to take. I'm trying to be an unbiased party in the situation. That's what I mostly try to be. I can't always be unbiased, but I try to give everyone a chance. Like you can see in my most recent video, this old man, I never even heard of in my life. I still gave him a chance, even though I'm pretty sure I'm not going to like him, but I still give him a chance. Because, I like engaging with people and not just, I don't like ignorantly hating. I like intelligently hating, because I think that's what it's all about. So yeah, Anna was, I know she was particularly peeved about that. She just saw she just saw it was a 40-minute video, and she saw that I put, like, the toucan nose on her, and I think that really peeved her, probably. I gave her the big toucan nose. The funny thing about that video, it's like the dislike ratio. It's like double the amount of likes and dislikes. And I think that might have peeved her too, because it's just like, oh my god, this person criticizing me and people actually like it. That probably made her a little angry. But that's alright. Hey Matt, it's fine.
It's funny that she criticized your video for being long, because she's a big fan of EFAP and she's friends with Mahler and Rags, and they make really long videos and they usually get shit for it.
Mahler's made like a 6-hour total review series on 6 hours on I think the video of H Bomber guy. And I actually like that video. I think Mahler is good at what he does. He definitely doesn't just say nothing for a couple hours. But admittedly, I think the point I wanted to get across was that, I don't hate Mahler. I actually like his channel quite a lot. But, some of his videos, it's a little bit obnoxiously long, I like it. It's good content. It's good stuff. And he says something the whole time. But, when it's being that long, it's just he's not called the long man for nothing. But, it doesn't need to be. I think it's a little bit unnecessary. But again, that's just my opinion. I'm not going to claim this is objectively a wrong way to do something. No, it's just my opinion.
Yeah, and I guess where I was going with that is that she's criticizing you
for making long videos. Yeah, for 45 minutes
about her.
Yeah,
and yet her friends constantly get that, and they're constantly against the idea of a video being too long about a subject that you're really passionate about.
I think one of the funniest things, I've actually seen a clip of Anna on EFAP where she basically says, "Oh, Jenny Nicholson can never say anything negative about Disney Star Wars. She's just such a shill for Disney Star Wars." And even Mahler and Rags were both going like, "Well, I think she's actually been negative towards Disney Star Wars." Because she did. She made like 2 or 3 videos where she like did not like the next Disney Star Wars, but Anna was just like, "Oh, she can't possibly be objective about Disney Star Wars because she worked at Disney before, even though she was like, from what I understand, she's in the petting zoo department. So it's
Yeah,
Disney.
I think she worked at Disneyland, not necessarily for Disney.
Yeah, not Disney World in Orlando, Florida. Like, but yeah, as far as I understand it.
But yeah, as far as I know, I think she hated The Rise of Skywalker, and I also remember she didn't like Rogue One.
Yeah, those were the 2 I remember. But yeah, it's really funny to hear Anna just like completely talk out of her ass because she seems to do that a lot. That's one of the big reasons that it's like, one, she sounds really insecure all the time. Like when she was talking about Henry Cavill, talking about saying like, he's one of us guys. Like, Anna, he's a mega rich celebrity. I guarantee you he's nothing like you. I guarantee you that. And Henry Cavill is also pretty leftist from what I know, so I guarantee you're not going to like him. You're not going to like some of the things he might say. But all of her videos, like the way she speaks and her demeanor stuff, she just sounds like an immature child to me. That's how she's always sounded.
Yeah.
You know, she's probably, well, I mean, since I've talked to her for real, I know she's not exactly the most mature person imaginable. But like, you know, whatever. I'm playing Lucio, so I'm a little bit. I'm trying to say, but I thought, you were right about that whole clip about Anna being really fucking snooty. I thought it was because she knew who I was already, and she was already mad at me, so, but if that wasn't true, yeah.
Pissy, I guess. I don't know, I guess maybe she was a bit defensive. She was being defensive because Rags is her friend, and maybe she felt like she needed to stand up for him or something.
Which, that I understand, I would do it for my friends, obviously. I don't think like she's the worst person in the world, but like, she just definitely has like very childish demeanor to her that I'm not really a fan of, and she seems to prove it over and over again with how much she talks out of her ass.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been inconsistent on that. Admittedly, I went from not knowing her at all to watching a couple videos, and I was like, yeah, I kind of get why people liked her in the beginning, because she was talking about The Last Jedi, and she sounded like just a normal, average, passionate fan and stuff, and I think people like the genuineness of her, but then she got affiliated with Geeks and Gamers, and then everything kind of went downhill from there.
Yeah, I think I've seen a couple of her, like, really old videos before, like, she met Jeremy, and, she definitely did have a different demeanor. I kind of feel like she maybe had to, I don't know, I guess get like more angry, maybe so that she would kind of fit in better with the Geeks and Gamers brand and impress Jeremy more, or something like that.
I feel that. Yeah, and she was also pounding around with like Ethan Van Scriber, who that dude is just like, he's a massive piece of shit. That dude, like I've seen his channel and stuff. Yeah, it's like pretty typical Comicsgate shit. So. Like, but man, like I remember his one joke that he made on there was like something about killing babies or something. It was just like, I remember being really kind of just, ew, dude, what the fuck? Like, what? I don't. I mean, he's a very subscriber. That man is like, I think I've watched a few videos before. Before I was like, didn't really care for like before I started really like disliking the Fandom Menace. I think I saw some of his videos before, and they were just like. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, he doesn't like these people, but like, he comes off as kind of one of those jock douches, and I mean, he's a millionaire. Like, the dude, like, he works for comics, and he's a well-renowned artist and all that stuff. But the dude is just like a total piece of shit in real life, according to most people who've ever had to work with him.
I don't really know a whole lot about Ethan Van Sciver. In fact, I probably know almost nothing about him, but.
Admittedly, I don't know a lot, but what I do know, it kind of makes me a little sick.
I don't know, he's probably not great.
Yeah, admittedly, I'll probably have to watch some of his videos one time, because he's been a requested one before, and I know why, believe me, I know why. But the dude is just like, He just thinks like he could defend all of its humor by just saying, "Oh, it's edgy." You know, he's kind of one of those people who thinks, "Oh man, I'm making jokes. What? Are you offended by jokes?" It's just like really stupid, kind of childish shit. And the dude is, you know, nothing I've ever heard about him personally has been nice. Admittedly, those could all be rumors. You know, I'm not going to make any assumptions, but kind of shit. Yeah, that sounds it. At least I hope we could actually win a few rounds because I've lost every round I was with. Sometimes it was just me genuinely fucking up, and sometimes some of my teammates just like don't want to kill any of the things killing the payload, so I have to do something. Well, we got Wrecking Ball and we got Anna here, so that should work. Alright, that Star Wars girl, you better start killing something. I can't look at Anna anymore without thinking that Star Wars girl now.
Yeah.
I can't ever see anyone named Anna and just not think of, you know, it's you know, I'm a woman, I understand about sexual assault, so let me actually explain this. So what he was doing was actually not sexual assault at all. If I looked at it, it's just like, well, Anna, no. Like I'm not, like, my problem was that, like, he kind of laughed off a bit of sexual assault. And there's a reason that scene was deleted, because it did make the Dawn look kind of bad. So there's a reason that was a deleted scene. But, like, you know, the reason my criticism was bad was because I thought I made that the whole center point of the argument, which it definitely wasn't. And that's, like, and I made a point about it, and, you know, I tried to calmly explain that. Explain my side of it, and it was, yeah, my side, you know, I defend my points until they stop making sense to me, and, you know, it was quite evident when I was in that debate that, you know, my points started not to make sense anymore, so I was kind of like, you know what, no, Karina, you're being fucking stupid, what are you doing? You need to, like, actually make good arguments. This is what your channel is supposed to be about, you know, if you're saying dumb shit like this, you know, people are not going to think the most charitable things about you. You know, and I don't want to come off as a hypocrite either. I feel like if I didn't join the stream, people would just assume, oh, you can't take any criticism, you can't talk to anybody. So I went out of my way to make a donation to them so I could actually get on there. I didn't expect to actually get on there at all, which was I expected and believe it or not, I'll tell you this, I expected a full-on fight as soon as I got in there. I expected to start like throwing punches and shit, but that was not the case at all. Those Maul and Reg, those guys, very nice people.
They've done that a bunch of other times, especially in their earlier episodes. They'd be like covering someone's video, and then all of a sudden the person who made that video is in the chat, and then they invite them to come on, and then they just have like a friendly little discussion with them. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, sometimes it didn't always go that way, but I gotta say, you know, I was walking in there expecting a fight. I'll be perfectly upfront about that, yeah. I just expected to come in there, and I expected arguments, I expected people to yell at me and stuff, and especially when I saw Anna in there. I knew Anna was in there in the first place, but I knew as soon as I started talking, she'd be like, oh man, she must know who I am, she must have saw my video, because there was quite a few views on that one, so there's no way she yelled past it. And she comes off to me as kind of an ego surfer, so.
Yeah.
She was probably one of those. But yeah, I walked in there expecting like a full-on battle, and I was going to like battle in the marketplace of ideas, and you know, we're going to have this epic anime battle that will destroy the city. But like, yeah, my points ended up just not really making sense anymore, so I'm just kind of like, you know what? Yeah, I was kind of dumb in this. I can't really defend anything I say. You know, I tried. Lord knows I tried. You know, I'm not just going to admit I'm wrong about that. You know, I'm going to be like, well, here's why I thought this, here's why I said that. You know, when they were explaining stuff, I was kind of like, well, yeah, this position is kind of indefensible, Karina. You need to stop being dumb. And, you know, I'm glad I got that point across, which was good. And I think that's an important thing that I have to my channel. One of my most important videos, that's why I keep it up, you know. Because it shows I'm the kind of person, I'm not afraid to talk to anyone, and I'm not afraid to take criticism either. I'm really not that kind of person. It took me a while to be that way, because again, I've developed video games, and you pretty much have to be able to take criticism, or else you will not survive as a game developer. So luckily, I learned that skill pretty early on, and it's an important skill for anyone to learn. It's one of the most important things you can ever learn in your life, because if you're ever going to create anything good, you have to know how to deal with people who don't like it. And admittedly, I don't speak to... I used to be able to respond to every negative comment I saw, but you know, the more I did that, the more I kind of realized that looks really childish. And it's just like, if someone doesn't like it, you don't have to even acknowledge they exist. You can be like, hey, I'm sorry you don't like it. You can just move on. Because it looks really childish when you're kind of like going on about it. Because it makes it look like even if the point the person is making is really bad and not very well thought out, it still looks really petty of you to just go after them all hard in the paint and shit like that. So that's why I kind of stopped doing that. Admittedly, I had a bad tendency of just responding to every negative comment with hostility. Well, not really hostility. I really just make fun of them more than anything. But, like, even that kind of doesn't make you look good. So that's admittedly why I don't do that. To obvious bait comments, too, like, haha, SJW, trash, cuck, soy boy, I fucked your mind. Yeah, I don't really respond to any of that. Because it's just like, yeah, I generally probably want to look better than the people I'm talking, than the people who are talking smack about me. So, generally I try to be the better one, and I acknowledge every argument that's ever made towards me, and I decide whether it's logical or not to make a sense. I gotta kill Bastion as Lucio, so my brain is everywhere right now.
Man, I was just thinking, I wonder how Anna would have even reacted if you had said, like, hey, I actually identify as a woman.
Who knows? I actually don't know how she'll react to that, but, she'll probably have some kind of snooty remark. Oh, really? She'll probably just say, like, oh, really? But, like, again, like, maybe she'll just be like, oh, that makes me look really bad. Because, yeah, if you do that to somebody on the internet, people will call you a piece of shit. And the EFAP audience, they actually were a little bit more progressive than I expected. So I have a feeling they would have called Anna out on that if she were to, like, make fun of me. It's like, oh, you're a woman? Yeah, well, I'm an attack helicopter, huh? Yeah. I have a feeling like Mauler and Rags wouldn't have been okay with that. I have a strong feeling of that. So Anna like is smart enough to realize that, oh, this makes me look really super bad. Even if this is a person I don't like, I'm gonna have that reputation. So
yeah, so she might not have said anything. She might have thought to herself, like, if she did say something that would look really bad on Mauler and Rags' part.
Because overall I think that's how she'll do it. Because Anna's not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I mean, like, I think even she could realize that, EFAP audience is a little bit more progressive than I expected, admittedly. I expected it to be just kind of like I was walking into, what's it called? I'm trying to think, and my teammates are dead, and I'm trying to think. There we go, Ultimate. That works.
Although, unfortunately, there actually have been some people in the EFAP audience that haven't been particularly progressive. Like, I'm not sure if you heard about this, but Southpaw tweeted about this a few months ago, that he noticed that some people in the Discord server were they weren't particularly nice about JXC's transition.
JX. Oh yeah, JXC. I like JXC a lot, but actually I didn't know any of this. Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, I like her too. I think she goes by both male and female pronouns, but I think I'll refer to as a she.
I think she is the safe way to go. I would refer to her as she too. That's the safe way.
So she was going through a transition period last year, and I think most of the fans were really supportive, but there was definitely like a group that was kind of...
You're a delusional man, here to take up masculinity and all that crap. Probably.
Yeah, I think she said that she was also friends with, what's that one person? It's another trans YouTuber.
Blair White?
What was that?
Blair White, maybe?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, there was so.
Because Blair White, I know, is an infamous trans woman, and she's a complete piece of shit of a person.
I don't think it was her.
Okay. Yeah, if it was her, I would have a little bit of issues. I like JXC. I like her a lot. Her channel's really exceptionally good. But like, yeah, if she's down the one with Blair White, I'd have a few problems with that. But
See, I'm trying to look up who this was.
Hang on, I need to plug in my headphone because it's run out of battery.
Okay,
Oh.
I don't even really know what to look up because I literally don't remember her name, but I know that, anyway, the person that, she's friends with is somebody that's, not popular with, the EFAP community, because she made, I think she made videos, criticizing, Rags and, the Dishonored Wolf, who used to be a host of the show.
Oh, Patricia Taxon.
Oh, yeah, it was Patricia Taxon.
Yeah, I like a few of Patricia's videos. I understand why she doesn't like Rags, and admittedly, some of the things he has said is a little bit iffy. I will be honest.
Yeah.
And a lot of my criticism of Rags did come from Patricia. So, like, I was thinking, like, oh, maybe I can see one of his newer videos. Maybe I could see the same things, but, like, you know, my things were pretty poorly articulated, and I focused on entirely the wrong things. So.
Anyway, what I was gonna say is I think there were some fans who were thinking that Patricia Taxon was like brainwashing Jay into thinking that that she was trans.
Oh, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah, it's like I understand that they may not like Patricia Taxon, but I don't think that's actually what happened.
Yeah, that's a pretty wild. That's like Alex Jones level shit. You can't convince someone to be transgender. That's ridiculous. That's obviously like ridiculous to anybody.
Yeah, and then one of Southpaw's co-hosts on the South podcast, his name is Buzzax. I've actually met him. He's a really nice guy. He is bisexual, and apparently some of the people in the Discord server have been kind of mean to him too recently.
That's really weird.
Yeah, and I don't know. I almost wonder if these people are here because people from the Fandom Menace started coming on the show. Like they've had Jeremy and what's that one guy's name?
They had that Nerdrotic.
Yeah, they've had Nerdrotic on a few times. They've had Jeremy a few times. They've had Anna, heel versus babyface.
Yeah, on the episode of EFAP with Jeremy, I think Southpaw was on there debating him too. I'm pretty sure.
He didn't debate him, but he wanted to.
Oh, really? Yeah, because he was on the show. Yeah.
So that was on the 50th episode of EFAP, and it was like a special episode, and he didn't want to like start drama there, but yeah, they were on at the same time.
I see. Yeah, and Southpaw eventually did debate him, which of course I made a video on, and it was brilliant. I think Southpaw is like a very well-spoken person. Like he's a very intelligent, very well-spoken person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that was actually pretty excellent. I enjoyed that a lot, and obviously, I feel like the reason I made that video, Inside the Minds of Geeks and Gamers, so I feel like actually a lot of people in the comment section did see it, but like I felt like it was cool to see like Jeremy in an actual debate. Like you could see him, like he could put away the character for a bit, you know, because Jeremy does play up a character. It's part of being a grifter. You have to play a character. You have to say what your audience wants to hear. You're admittedly appealing to confirmation bias. Yeah, like Jeremy understands all that. So like it's interesting to see him put away the character and see if his points actually stand up. And well, they kind of don't.
Yeah, they didn't at all.
Yeah, that whole.
He kept repeating himself over and over and just couldn't come up with a good way to save his arguments.
Well, now you see, Southpaw, that's just your perspective. Well, I'm just saying that my context, in my perspective context, this is what happened here, and this is why I believe, and that's the only thing he would go to every time, and it was kind of just like a joke at that point. Like he kind of had nothing else, which was kind of like, you know, he's trying, but like, you're not succeeding, my man.
Yeah, he said that perspective thing so many times, it got so irritating.
Well, you see, in my perspective, my side of the story perspective, part of context perspective, and, you know, it almost got to, like, business speak at that point. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, Jeremy, your perspective isn't always the truth.
But like, I think that's really telling, and I think I made this point in the video too. I thought it was really telling that, Jeremy would always be talking like this, like his perspective, and like, my perspective, my context here. See, like, and I think at one point he even says that like, all that matters is like my audience agrees with me, and it's just like, well, that's part of the problem, Jeremy. Like, you only have your idea of it, but then when someone introduces it saying that your opinion doesn't really make a lot of sense, you're just kind of like, all you're saying is, well, that's just my opinion, I guess, which is like, pretty fucking weak sauce. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and he's also said a bunch of times that he really hates echo chambers, but a lot of the times Geeks and Gamers does feel like an echo chamber. Like, I think there was this one time where it wasn't. It was really funny. I'm not sure if you ever heard about this, but Josiah, he made a video. I think it was where he talked about his pro-life perspective, and then later that same day,
prepare to cringe.
Later that same day, Jessie Milestone made a video that like where she was like counteracting him and talking about her pro-choice perspective, and I thought that was really funny to see.
Oh, Jessie Milestone's actually pro-choice?
Yeah, it's weird. She's like the only one in like the Geeks and Gamers group that is actually like more left-wing.
That's very fascinating. I didn't know that.
Yeah, like pretty much, I think as far as I know, pretty much all the other ones are very right-wing. I mean, Anna might be left-wing. I know that she lives in California, but I don't know, she doesn't really talk about politics that much, so I don't really know.
Yeah, I can't knock her for being too political. I mean, Jeremy I can knock for being political because he has a whole other channel called D-Day Cobra where he basically talks nothing but politics. Like, Joe Biden is literally the worst thing to happen to the universe.
Oh, like, God, I hate his D-Day Cobra channel. It's so cringe.
I actually haven't went to it yet. I probably should because, like, I feel like I can mine a shitload of content out of that. But then again,
it's a fucking gold mine of cringe. You definitely should make videos about it.
Yeah, that sounds really funny. I was considering doing that, but like I kind of said in one of my videos that I had a principled stance on Jeremy, that I won't just mine him for content, because essentially that's what I'm criticizing him for doing, mining Brie Larson for content. So like, yeah. But I feel like I could do D-Day Cobra, because that's a completely different channel. That is still him, and that's him sharing politics, and well, politics is a little different than, nerdy stuff. I don't like to treat politics the same way we treat nerdy stuff, because I think that's part of the problem, and I think Jeremy most likely is doing a lot of that.
Yeah, it's so weird. His D-Day Cobra channel feels like almost like a whole nother world compared to the Geeks and Gamers channel.
Yeah, once you see that channel, you can probably understand why Zack Snyder was kind of like, yeah, we don't endorse hate. Maybe he watched D-Day Cobra. That's probably why he said that.
Yeah. I definitely think Jeremy does come off a little bit better on Geeks and Gamers, but he definitely I don't really know. He seems way worse on D-Day Cobra. Like, I definitely think he has more harmful views than he usually displays on just Geeks and Gamers.
I think the Geeks and Gamers channel gives him enough plausible deniability where people were like, okay, he's getting mad about minorities, but you know what? I can at least sort of believe that, he doesn't actually, like, hate all of them. He says some pretty iffy things, and if he really means that he's pro-diversity, he's really bad at explaining that, because it just sounds like he hates the fact that there's any kind of black person in this. But, like, I don't think Jeremy actually is, like, super racist or anything. Like, I don't believe that. I believe he's just, like, he's very impulsive. He's very, like, not the most well-spoken person.
Yeah, I still think that, too, even if D-Day Cobra does make me doubt that a little bit more.
Yeah, anyone who pals around with Josiah Rises, that's that objectively, like, MAGA hat-wearing, objectively racist shithead. If you associate with that guy, you're probably not very good. I'm sorry. Like, you are, like, the best piece of advice I've ever heard is that you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. And if Josiah Rises is one of those people, ew. Ew. Yeah, not good. Not good. That's not poggers, Jeremy.
Yeah, and it's like, Jeremy on the D-Day Cobra channel is what I like to refer to as a Trump worshiper.
Oh god, yeah, I've seen enough of his videos to know that's true. Jesus Christ. Like, that dude is
like,
just
I think he made a video, I think, when the Capitol, when the Capitol raid happened earlier this year. And I think his thumbnail was like something super cringy, like Trump wearing like shades or something.
Trump is so cool. Like, to pretend that Trump is in any way cool, like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, even if you agree with what the man thinks, like, you can't just think he's like this super cool, like, yeah, I'm hip with the times. Like, Donald Trump is pretty infamously like a total boomer. Like,
Yeah, like his super cringy like jerk off hand dance that he was doing in his campaign last year.
No, the man is just like, he's up there with Joe Biden in terms of being cringy. Joe Biden is pretty fucking cringy too, but like, you know, Trump is just like in another world. If you've seen some of his tweets, like some of his old tweets before he became president, like he was literally talking about like Obama was born in Kenya, because let's not forget, he believed that Obama was born in Kenya.
Yeah.
He was one of the big reasons people thought that.
And I specifically kind of separate like Trump supporters and Trump worshippers, because I know that there are people out there like my brother, for example. He hates Trump as a person, but he likes a lot of his like policies and stuff, so he voted for him. And it's like
weirdly, yeah, Ben Shapiro was kind of that way too, where like he hated Trump personally, but like, oh, he likes just the policy stuff. Which, you know, when it comes to policy, yeah, America was a different time in 2016, and I try not to hate people just for supporting a certain guy, because, you know, really, some people can just see past his blatantly awful personality and just see like what he proposes, and they agree with it. Like, you know, people do believe that border security is a big problem, and I think it's a nuanced issue. Like, I think it's a pretty nuanced issue. Like, immigration is overall good for America, but like, you know, I don't think America just has the proper infrastructure to support open borders and stuff. Which is why no Democrat really supports open borders. They support, like, you know, make it easier to become a citizen, which I've always been for. But again, America just doesn't have the infrastructure for immigration, is my basic stance on it. But Trump's idea of a wall is just objectively terrible, because we have nowhere near the funds to support that. Well, I just like that. We just don't have the kind of budget for it, but yet he also wants to continue the wars in Afghanistan. He wants to continue the drug war. There's no way we could support a, like, 2,000-mile-long wall. That's just objectively a stupid idea. So, you know, but if people, like, voted for him because he cares about border security, some people just will vote for him because, you know, they like what he says about, like, how he feels on certain things, because think about it this way, he's also competing with Joe Biden. He's also competing with a Democrat. You have to compare him to who he's fighting against, not just what he believes himself. Because, like, if somebody just had the best ideas, you know, that'd be completely different. But no, he's competing with, like, a Democrat. So directly who he's competing with also matters. If they hate Joe Biden, they're going to vote, no matter who it is, they're going to vote for him.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I just remembered that...
I tried to back up.
What I was gonna say, so, and then a Trump worshiper is, just somebody who thinks that he's, like, the coolest fucking guy ever, thinks that everything he says is true, and everything that he did
4D chess, man. He's just making 4D chess, guys. You don't understand. Donald Trump is actually a genius. I remember Razor Fist. You know what Razor Fist is?
Vaguely.
Like, Razor Fist for a while, he was definitely, like, pretending like Donald Trump was just, like, this 4D chess player. He's a genius, and, man, just, like, he's pwning the Democrats left and right, even though, like, most of the shit he says is, like, beyond stupid. It's just, like, incredible. Okay, I'm gonna heal you. Oh god, this heavy assault is just murking my team.
Yeah, and then I just remembered something else. I'm gonna have to try and find this video and show you this clip. But so, there was this one video, I think it was, like during the election week. And Jeremy said, he straight up said that he thinks Trump is the best president of his lifetime.
Of his lifetime, well, even
Yeah.
that, like, well, a lot of people disliked Obama. I dislike Obama for a lot of reasons, which I would get into, but like, I doubt they're for the same reasons that Jeremy does. Most likely, they're not even similar.
Jeremy actually supported Obama during his first term.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Actually, I wouldn't
interesting.
have known that. Oh, wait, here we go. Oh, Transcendence, yes. That's what we needed. This heavy assault is just, like, wrecking shit. Oh, my God. Still haven't killed him, and I just got a shotgun. Great.
I think I'm starting to realize that I know way more than I should about Jeremy Griggs of Geeks and Gamers.
I can understand that. But yeah, fuck, I probably should go on about D-Day Cobra, because like I haven't actually seen the channel again. You know, I'll be objective about it, and I'll just be like, hey, maybe you know it's not, but like I you know, knowing that Jeremy supported Obama at one point is actually kind of fascinating to me. I wonder why.
Yeah.
Yeah, if only I can know that much. Shot caller is Zenyatta. Hell yeah, I'm a shot caller.
Yeah, so I think I also think in one of his videos, I think he said he's 40.